5. Good morning. Happy Friday. We have made it to the end of the week, and we are glad you're here with us on KCMO Talk Radio. So yesterday, we came on the show very early, and we told you that this man who allegedly tried to molest two girls forth had a detainer put out on him by ICE. And you would think that other local media would jump on this. I mean, you would think they would want to know about this. They all reported on this. Channel 9, Channel 4, 41, 5. You'd think they'd all want to do something with this. The Kansas City Star. I mean, I had it on very good authority. We shared it first here on 95.7 FM. And you would think that other media might be interested in this story, right? I mean, it's terrible what could have happened up there. These two girls who are under 14 are swimming at Smithville Lake on July 4th. And this 26-year-old man comes up to them and tries to take off their swim bottoms and says he wants to bring them back to Mexico with him. You'd think they report that. You'd think they'd be interested in learning more about the story. These girls are able to fend off this individual. Name is Carlos Clamaco Garcia. And they're able to tell their parents. Their parents get the police involved. The police arrest this man. I mean, that's very unusual at Smithville Lake. That stuff doesn't happen here. And it did on one of the biggest holidays of the year, especially for swimming up at Smithville Lake. And what are you getting instead? A complete Kansas City media blackout. Like, you don't have to be a father of 3 daughters like I am to care about this story. Maybe it hits home a little bit more for someone like me, but you just have to be someone who cares about other people. You just have to be somebody who cares about children. You also have to be somebody who cares about getting to the bottom of the news cycle and the news stories in this town, and are not putting on your blinders and acting like, well, if this makes maybe my political side look bad, I don't want to touch this thing with a 10-foot pole. You have to be able to do all those things to just simply report on this story. And they're not difficult things to do. Let's be very clear. They're not. So no one has updated. Well, I take that back. One media outlet in town has updated their story since we shared the news yesterday that this Carlos Clamaco Garcia, who allegedly grabbed 2 young teenage girls and started to grope them and tried to remove their swimsuits at Smithville Lake, has had a detainer placed on him by ICE. And the only media outlet that did this was Channel 5. Now, Channel 5 reached out to the Clay County Prosecutor's Office. And what they said is they are unaware if this man is in the U.S. legally or illegally. Now, that's fair. I don't know that right now. I'm just saying ICE has placed a detainer on him because they want to talk to the guy. But here's what Channel 5 goes on the report. The only ones who have done any updating on this story. A probable cause statement claimed Garcia was in the U.S. with only a Guatemalan ID. The state also said he was accompanied by someone who had an ICE detainer. Now, I talked to my sources, and I said, hey, Channel 5 is reporting from the Clay County Prosecutor's Office that this guy, Clamaco Garcia, was with somebody else who had an ICE detainer. And they said, yeah, they're just not sharing the full story right now. The Clay County Prosecutor's Office said they can't confirm whether or not he's an undocumented immigrant. They also said it's unclear if ICE is involved at this time. Okay, well, I'm once again doubling down and reiterating to you that ICE has put out a detainer for this individual. That's what's happened here. Now, we also know that the Clay County Prosecutor's Office, led by Zachary Thompson, he's been very gun-shy when it comes to media in the wake of the Andrew Lester, Ralph Yarl situation from over 2 years ago now. That was the story that, of course, went worldwide when Andrew Lester, the 80-some-odd-year-old white man, shot Ralph Yarl at his home when Ralph Yarl showed up to the wrong house, a young black boy, to pick up his brother. And that got worldwide attention because of, obviously, the racial components involved. Ever since then, Zachary Thompson, who is a, solid prosecutor, but he's been very gun shy. He's been very hesitant to do too much with the media. It's almost like, from what I've gathered in talking to multiple people, kind of like a PTSD thing going on. He just doesn't really want any part of the media. He's totally avoiding media, and he's not going to give the media any more than he absolutely has to. And I suppose that's his prerogative, but I'm telling you, that situation, that changed him. And he hasn't exactly made a lot of friends up there in Clay County, whether it's judges or law enforcement or anybody else, in the wake of that deal a couple of years ago. But still, he's trying to do a good job, and overall, he's a good prosecutor, but he's not going to be the guy that's getting out there front and center right now. It's just not who he's been the last couple of years. So they are keeping some of the important details fairly close to the vest right now. But it is amazing how bad of a job this city's media has done on this story. It's like they've totally buried it. And if we get any updates on it, I promise you it's not going to be from the Kansas City Star. It's going to be here. So if this is the kind of story that you care about, well, this is the only place to be on 95.7 FM and streaming on the KCMO Talk Radio app as we kick it off on a Friday morning on KCMO. Now, it's not just here, right? Like, this is part of the problem when you have an administration that runs wide open borders for the better part of 4 years. You're going to have really bad people in parts of the country, and no one really knows who they are, what their intentions are, or what they're doing until they try to potentially pull off some kind of crime like what you saw at Smithville Lake. But you only have to go up to Nebraska, where ICE agents, if you didn't see this, ICE agents arrested an MS-13 kingpin in Nebraska who was wanted for 5 murders. I mean, this is not just a Texas deal, right? We got this guy in Kansas City now, Smithville Lake. We don't know what happened there. We don't have all the details. We know ICE wants to reach out and talk to him. We got ICE now arresting an MS-13 kingpin up in Nebraska who's wanted for nearly half a dozen murders. He's on El Salvador's 100 most wanted list. So these are the kind of people who, it's not all of them. Like, if it's 10, 12, 15 million people who came into the country during Joe Biden's 4 years, I'm not implying that that's 12 million drug dealers and child molesters and murderers. No, that's not the case. But if it's a small fraction, that's still thousands, right? And that's what the administration right now is trying to get to the bottom of. And those are the people at the top of the list that they're trying to arrest. Not the guy or the mom who's been here for 20 years, who's, got some work history in this country. That's not the person who is anywhere near the top of the target list for ICE. And it shouldn't be the person who's near the top of the target list for ICE. They're doing the work that, frankly, the American people hired them to do back in November. And the polling, not that it really should matter, but the icing on the cake here is that the polling is overwhelmingly in favor of what the administration is doing on this specific issue. And I don't see anything that's going to change that. Because as we get more of these stories out of Nebraska, which got national attention, or the local story here in Smithville Lake, people are going to say, yeah, no, absolutely. I don't want those people in Kansas City. I don't want them in the country, whether it's Nebraska, Texas, Kansas, Missouri, doesn't matter. I don't want them here. And they have no right, most importantly, to be here. Coming up on KCMO Talk Radio, 95.7 FM. So on a similar front, there was a big ICE raid yesterday that got national attention. And there were a bunch of protesters out there. But they left out a very important tidbit that really encapsulates what the story's about. We'll share that with you coming up next on a Friday morning on KCMO Talk Radio.
It's Mundo in the Morning. Now on FM at 95.7. Set a preset on your radio. KCMO Talk Radio.
So there was a big ice raid yesterday in California, and it was at a farm. Gavin Newsom, the governor of California, posted here on X video, and it reads as follows. The governor of California writes, kids running from tear gas, crying on the phone because their mother was just taken from the fields. Trump calls me new scum, but he's the real scum, says old Gav. That was Gavin Newsom responding to President Trump and to ICE.
She's a real beauty.
Yeah. This is what it sounded like yesterday. So you would think, like, okay, there's a lot of people not telling the full story here. ICE did the right thing. This was an absolute no-brainer. They swarmed Ventura County fields. And if you read Gavin Newsom and some of the people who are not telling you the whole story about this, what was it? It was a marijuana facility. Are we now going to go down the road of, what will we do without the illegals picking our weed? That's what they would say about the farms, right? Who's going to pick our crops? Harkening back to, 160 years ago from, by the way, the same political party in the country that is now saying, who's going to pick my weed? Who will help me get stoned? How can I stay high all day without our illegals to pick our crops? Some breaking news on this story. 10 juveniles were found at the marijuana facility. All illegal. 8 of them were unaccompanied. This is now under investigation for child labor violations. Gavin Newsom left that out of his cute little social media post, right? He just portrayed it as kids running from tear gas. These kids were being abused at the facility. They were children who were also in the country illegally, who were working at this marijuana farm. Is that the America that we want? Is it? You tell me. I mean, there's a lot in this story that is not the America that we want. 913-408-7957. I mean, just that story alone is not going to be the story that turns people on the president's immigration policies. It's not. A lot of people are going to look at this and say, we got to protect kids from these predator farmers, whether it's marijuana or anything else. It's not really about the marijuana, but if you're claiming it's about picking certain crops and like feeding the American people, that certainly goes out the window with this story, John.
Whereas the ACLU, these kids surely weren't getting minimum wage.
Yeah, that's a great point as well.
They're not getting paid what they're worth.
ACLU is nowhere to be found on this one. Uh-huh. Great point. So ask yourself why that might be the case. And then say, is this what you want for these children, right? Of course not. Even if these kids come here and they're with somebody who's illegal, I mean, that's not on them, right? The children are not responsible for that. So however you feel about that situation, you don't want these kids on a marijuana farm working God knows what hours, under what kind of circumstances and conditions. If nothing else, I mean, no one should have the backs of the marijuana farmer in this whole story. To me, that's not even up for debate. So that right now is the lead story on Fox. And of course, those who are trying to spin it aren't giving you all the details. I also find it fascinating that protesters clashed with these federal authorities yesterday during this immigration raid at a marijuana. What ICE is doing. Are they getting tipped off? Who's tipping them off? Local authorities, state authorities, federal authorities? I don't know. But you've got all these protesters in their COVID masks, and man, what a dead giveaway that is. When you got the COVID mask thing going, I mean, you can't be taken seriously. It's the middle of July in a farm in Southern California, and you're in a COVID mask, John, please.
Where's AOC when all this is happening? Do we need to
Yeah.
page AOC to the fence, please? Drop to your knees, all the kids, and weep for the kids.
Yep, that's a great point. Absolutely outstanding point. So just know that if you're seeing that national story pop up, having all the details, definitely an important thing to do. Now, back here in Kansas City, some of you were asking about this on the text line. Pete, with your conversation around Smithville Lake earlier, and now this story in California, what about the Kansas City Police Department and what they recovered this week? Do we have any more information on that? Great question. Kansas City Police, if you missed it, recovered 52 pounds of meth and 10,000 fentanyl pills in a series of drug busts across the city. Those who are arrested are as part of the bust will be facing federal charges. They had canines involved, and the police department told Fox 4 it is not able to disclose the number of people who were arrested due to the sensitive nature of the ongoing investigations. I don't have much more than that right now, but I'm happy to do a little digging and find out maybe who these people are, because you know and I know that that story ends there with your local media for multiple reasons. One, they're not really interested in highlighting a lot of the great things that area law enforcement are doing. I mean, they'll cover the story, but they're not going to go much deeper than that. Number two, if there are people involved who might change or support a narrative around the national political discussion, they're definitely not touching that one, who should not be here to begin with. Two big no-nos. Not happening. So I will have to put on the old investigator's cap today and let you know what I find out. We're doing what, we're supposed to be just entertainment here, talking about it, reacting to it, having a good time. We're doing too much investigative journalism around here, John. This is getting to be a lot of work, carrying the load for the Kansas City media.
Super sleuth.
It's just a lot, man. But you know what? Anything for the station, anything for the company, anything for the firm. We'll do what we've got to do around here. Coming up on KCMO Talk Radio 95.7 FM and always streaming on the KCMO Talk Radio app. I really hope that Mayor Lucas wins this lawsuit that he just got hit with. It involves Harrison Butker, Chiefs kicker. We'll get you the details coming up next.
If it's happening in KCMO, it's on KCMO 95.7 FM. Here's Pete Mundo.
Man, I hope the city of Kansas City, Missouri just smokes this employee on this lawsuit. Everybody and anybody is suing Kansas City. The amount of money that this city pays out in lawsuits is really gross. And a message has to be sent. You're seeing it left and right. You're seeing it whether it's in the police department, whether it's in the water department, whether it's just city employees like Chris Hernandez and that ridiculous settlement that he got as the former communication staffer from City Hall. This is all your money, by the way. I mean, there's no pot of gold that just falls out of the air that they pay out these lawsuits with. They're paying this with your money. And every huckster attorney who's looking to make a buck is convincing former or current city employees that, hey, don't worry, city will pay you out. I'll take my cut. I'll take my commission. And you're going to turn yourself into a wealthy person by filing a lawsuit against City Hall. It's ridiculous. And it's not a, right-left issue. If you just care about the taxpayer dollars, this is a huge waste of money, and we're seeing it left and right. So here's what's going on now. 2 Kansas City communication staffers feared for their safety after they were falsely accused last year of doxing Chiefs kicker Harrison Butker on the city's social media account. So you may recall that after Harrison Butker's big speech, graduation speech, commencement speech at Benedictine, obviously that thing went worldwide, right? So what happened here and what the Kansas City Star is writing is that these women were subjected to hateful, racist, and misogynistic threats and feared that they might be harmed by online anonymous thugs. Now, they are both suing the city, claiming that Mayor Lucas and other city officials refused to clear their names, which damaged their reputation and allowed the harassment to continue. Oh, this is so exhausting. So exhausting. Do you remember what happened on social media at the time? At the time, what you had was there was a post from the Kansas City, Missouri social media account that was like, Harrison Butker doesn't live in Kansas City. He's a Lee Summit resident. Or that was the post from the Kansas City, Missouri.
They were just glad he wasn't from Kansas City.
Yes.
That he was from Lee Summit.
Yes. There was this post that went viral after Harrison Butker went viral, sharing that, hey, good thing, don't worry, he's not one of us.
It was a sophomoric use of public tools.
Yes, exactly. It was really a bad look for the official Kansas City, Missouri X account, but that's what they did at the time. Now, no one for a second in the real world is like, this is an indictment on every person who works in the communications department in Kansas City, Missouri. It obviously was like 1, maybe 2 people who just had really poor judgment. But now what you've got is you've got other people who were working for the city communications department at the time suing, insisting that Quentin Lucas should have done more to protect them individually. That is absurd. And I hope like heck, first off, the city fights this. Like, even if it costs some money to fight the lawsuit, you got to send a message that you can't just settle every stinking lawsuit that you guys get across your desk. That's just going to lead to more people trying to figure out reasons to sue you. I mean, let's be honest. I'm not saying what I'm about to say is not true for everybody who works in government. It's not. But there are definitely people that work for government who, frankly, are lazy and looking for an easy way out. And if you become a place where you can just do whatever you want and then file a lawsuit and get your way and get your payout and not actually then work after the fact, people are going to keep doing it. You've got thousands of city employees. It only takes a few bad apples to put the city in a very precarious financial spot with these lawsuits.
So, I started this fire, and then I got burned by the fire.
Yeah.
So I'm going to need some compensation.
Yeah.
Right?
I'm going to need some help.
You created the mess.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
There you go.
Absolutely. So, I just have zero sympathy, zero for these city employees. You have these coworkers who are alleging in a court filing that city officials did too little to clear her name after she was misidentified as being responsible for a May of 2024 post on X that said Butker lives in Lee's Summit and not Kansas City. The person who wrote it was trying to, in a sarcastic way, distance Kansas City from the comments Butker made at Benedictine. Neither woman had anything to do with the post after another person with access to the city's X account was found to be responsible and was eventually fired. Okay, so they fire that person, but now the lawsuit by these other employees is that the city didn't do enough to protect them? Online harassers are going to do their thing. I'm not defending them. I get them all the time. Trust me, I wake up to online harassers in my X and my Facebook, and not as much on my Instagram because that's just like family photos and, the girls and I being goofballs. That's mostly what my Instagram is for. But certainly on Twitter, now X, and to a lesser extent on Facebook. I wake up to that stuff every day. What is Quentin Lucas going to do? DM the username Bob785432, who doesn't actually have his face or his name on his X account, and say, knock it off there, Bob. Like, what is the mayor going to do in that situation? You tell me. This lawsuit's got to be tossed. And I hope that the city fights it, and I hope that they win. And the attorneys need a message here, too, because, man, these guys are getting greedy. And the state of Missouri, too, they've got to fix their deal. Because right now, Missouri's a free-for-all for these slip and fall guys. It's just ridiculous. Now, the other thing happening right now with Mayor Lucas is something he said yesterday here on this show. We've got Missouri Governor Mike Kehoe coming to North Kansas City today. He's going to sign a bill, and the bill is going to allow Clay County to create its own sports commission, a la Jackson County. Theoretically, that would help the team or help the county get a team like the Royals. But Mayor Lucas threw this thing for a curveball yesterday when he said something on this show. I asked him about Mike Kehoe coming to North Kansas City, and I said, what do you think that means for the Royals potentially moving up to the Northland? And here's what the mayor said.
I actually see that largely as a Chiefs practice facility discussion. As you probably know, others may not. The Chiefs have made fairly clear that they're not returning to St. Joseph for training camp. There are different views on that too, but and they're looking at opportunities elsewhere, particularly for a practice facility. I think the Northland has been a strong part of that conversation. Kansas City, Missouri, Kansas City North has also been part of the pitches in connection with that. And so, I think the Sports Commission allows that as well. I won't say the bill has much to do about nothing, but it's great to have a sports commission. You got to have a big old revenue source too to help support things like that. Kansas City, Missouri is good at building those. That's why we've been in the practice facility discussion, but I don't think it necessarily means anything. It certainly doesn't mean anything more than Miss Monday's kind of nothing burger of the state of Kansas extending things.
So Quentin Lucas throwing out there that maybe what North Kansas City is actually in the mix for is a Chiefs practice facility. Now, I had heard that from some of the folks up in the Northland, but obviously their preferred target is going to be the Royals. 81 nights a year. We know the economics of that far superior to a Chiefs practice facility. Not bad, but of those two options, if you're Clay County, if you're North Kansas City, it's not even close. Now, I can also share with you the owners of the property up there in North Kansas City have a very strong relationship with Clark Hunt. They are friends down at their time at SMU and down in Texas. So that relationship does exist. But Quentin Lucas throwing it out there for the first time that maybe North Kansas City is also a spot for the Chiefs and a practice facility. And he's not wrong on that, but I can tell you that's definitely a backup option to the Kansas City Royals going up to that Northland spot where they've got about 100 acres in North Kansas City, just due south of Armour Road, that they are going to develop. The question is, will it be with a sports franchise or something completely different? Coming up, the 6 at 6. Top 6 stories in the 6 o'clock hour. we'll bring to you right here on KCMO 95.7 FM. Well, we're approaching the weekend. It is Friday morning, and that means you've got some time on your hands. What do? You know what you do? You realize that if you think you're dragging your feet on an engagement, you go to Diamonds Direct, and you do it like this afternoon. All right? Cut out of work a little early and go to Diamonds Direct and buy the engagement ring that you know that she wants and you know that she thinks you're dragging your feet on. And what's the benefit right now? Well, for only a few more days, Diamonds Direct is offering a free wedding band when you buy the engagement ring. Where else are you going to get a deal like that? And I promise you will not sacrifice on quality, and you will not sacrifice on the white glove service you get from Angie and her team at Diamonds Direct, as they've taken care of me for years. And I can tell you firsthand, between the service, the quality, the price point, you're not going to beat Diamonds Direct and what they're offering here in Kansas City. And I'll tell you what, if I knew about this deal, if this deal existed 13 years ago when I got engaged, I would have jumped on it. I would not have waited any longer. So set aside an hour, maybe you need 2 this weekend, but it won't take you long at Diamonds Direct. Friendly environment, no pushy salespeople. They will take great care of you. Start shopping now at diamondsdirect.com or head on in to 119th and Row.
Hey, it's Kevin Keatsman. Stick around. I'm coming up at 10 o'clock right after Pete Mundo on KCMO 95.7 FM.
6:50 on a Friday, summer Friday. It is great to have you here on 95.7 FM, and it's that time of the morning. Let's do
It's
it.
time for the 6 at 6 on 95.7 KCMO Talk Radio. Number 1.
Mike Kehoe, the governor of Missouri, finds himself in North Kansas City this afternoon. He will be at Chapels on Armour Road, where he will sign the Clay County Sports Commission bill that will allow Clay County to develop and create its own sports commission. He could have signed this in Jeff City and moved on with his weekend. He's coming to Kansas City, coming to Clay County. He's putting on a show. That's not because he was looking for something to do today. It's because I believe he is now publicly trying to persuade, likely the Royals, to consider that North Kansas City location. Maybe it is, as we just talked about, a Chiefs practice site area, but the big economic engine there would be 81 nights a year of Major League Baseball, not a Chiefs practice facility. So Mike Kehoe is going to be here for that signing today. And we couldn't get him on the show this morning, unfortunately. He just had too much on his plate. He had a couple of meetings and whatnot. We tried to make it work. But we'll shoot to have him on maybe early next week and see how this goes today up in the Northland.
Number 2.
Well, speaking of Mike Kehoe, the governor yesterday signed House Bill 567, whatever you want to call it. I shouldn't have even mentioned the number. No one cares, right?
Exactly.
It's totally irrelevant.
Oh, that one.
Yeah.
Nobody cares.
Shame on me. Live radio, it happens. We all screw up. But anyway, the bill that he signed repeals the voter-approved changes to the state's minimum wage and sick leave law. It repeals the yearly cost of living increases that were established when voters approved what was dubbed Proposition A back in 2024. It also repeals the provisions establishing paid sick time, which required employees to give workers at least 1 hour of sick leave for every 30 hours worked. Kehoe said in a statement after this private bill signing ceremony, "We are protecting the people who make Missouri work, families, job creators, and small business owners by cutting taxes, rolling back overreach, and eliminating costly mandates." So this Prop A was approved last November, took effect on May 1, and now the state legislature's like, yeah, that's not going to happen. The repeal will take effect on August 28th. And if workers don't use their paid sick leave before August 28th, there's no legal guarantee they can do so afterwards. But I would expect this one to be back on the ballot possibly next year in Missouri. This one is not going anywhere.
Number 3.
Well, speaking of the Royals, Northtown, Mike Kehoe, they are back at it tonight. 3-game series beginning with the New York Mets after a sweep of the Pirates. And the good news for the Royals, the Mets had a doubleheader in Baltimore yesterday. They lost both games, and now they're coming to Kansas City, whereas the Royals had a day off. So good news for the Royals. I'll be at the game tomorrow. Looking forward to it. Going to have the girls. The girls are fired up for the game, by the way. They can't, the older two. The younger one has no idea what's going on. But the older two are fired up for the game tomorrow. But now my older one is Claire. She's kind of hedging a little bit. You know, we got very nice tickets from a friend of ours. And he said, the only thing is Claire's got to root for the Royals. I understand, you know, you got to root for the team you grew up with, the Mets. But she's a Kansas City girl. She's got to root for the Royals. And I told her that at dinner last night, and she's like, what? But, Dad, what if I don't want to? What if I want to root for the Mets? I don't know what to tell you, honey. We got the tickets. You got to root for the Royals.
That's a little bit of a serious thing. It's a serious responsibility you put on her. She's really contemplating that. We need to remove that burden.
I know. We had some fun with it. She's going to be all right. She's just going to root for – she may root for both teams. That's what she told me on Monday.
Yeah, she sounds like she's planning on having a good time.
Yeah, most importantly, she will have a good time.
Number 4.
Next up in our 6 at 6, the President of the United States is traveling to Texas today, where he will tour the damage from these horrific floods in hill country down in south central Texas. This is, of course, where he will also be meeting with local officials and first responders, as Melania will be there as well, according to a statement from the First Lady's office. And there will also be a press conference down there where we know that at least 121 people were killed in this flooding of the Guadalupe River in Kerr County. And that includes dozens of children at Camp Mystic, the Christian summer camp down there. The search for more than 170 people still missing continues on, with 2,100 responders on the ground in Kerr County from local, state, and federal agencies.
Number 5.
In our 6 at 6 big national story coming late yesterday, leading into this morning, is that there was a massive clash between protesters and federal authorities during an immigration operation north of Los Angeles at a marijuana farm that allegedly was employing illegal immigrants. So you had not only the clash between protesters and federal agencies, but it also turned out there were 10 juveniles found at the marijuana facility, all illegal aliens, 8 of them unaccompanied. That is now under investigation for child labor violations. Yeah. And Gavin Newsom thinks that he's going to get a win on this issue. Keep dreaming, my man. Keep dreaming. California dreaming there from Gavin Newsom.
Number 6.
And last here on the 6 at 6 rundown on KCMO Talk Radio, KCTV5 has the story here, in charged with child endangerment. Brian Dolezal, 47, has been charged with aggravated child endangerment and driving under the influence. Court documents noted that on July 1, Dolezal was arrested by Shawnee police after a traffic stop. He was believed to have been under the influence of drugs or alcohol. At the time of his arrest, law enforcement officials noted that Dolezal had a child under the age of 18 with him in the vehicle. Johnson County detention records indicated that Dolezal posted his $2,500 bond before a July 10th hearing, where his bond was modified to allow him contact with his child. As of yesterday, his LinkedIn profile shows he was still employed as principal for Center Middle School. Coming up is the defunding of PBS happening. We have the details next. You ready for that defunding of NPR? It can't come soon enough, man. That would be a summer gift we're all waiting for. 7:05, good morning. It is great to have you here on KCMO Talk Radio. Do you realize the happy dance we will do? I know we could take video of it and post it on social media. But, it's a Friday. We're all in a good mood here. The only thing that could make this Friday better is if Republicans actually went out there and got President Trump's rescissions bill passed. It's a $9 billion cut in spending that basically has already been earmarked for. And that would include NPR, and PBS to the tune of, it's about a $9 billion package. That's not all for NPR and PBS, obviously, but they would be included in this rescissions package where basically they claw back some of the money that's already been earmarked for at the federal government level. And they're not doing it. Republicans are just dragging their feet on this matter. Now, the president posted on X or on, I guess, Truth Social yesterday, it is very important that all Republicans adhere to my rescissions bill, and in particular, defunding the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, PBS and NPR, which is worse, he writes, than CNN and MSDNC put together.
Fake news.
Any Republican that votes to allow this monstrosity to continue broadcasting will not have my support or endorsement. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Oh, we got it. We got the thank you for the attention to this matter. Oh, man, that's how you know he's not screwing around, right? That's how you know the president's serious about this. So I shared this yesterday, and I just reposted it on X and simply wrote, thank you for your attention to this matter. One of the most underrated and hilarious endings to a Trump social media post ever. And I love that he's using it, and I love that he's leaning into it. But this is something that cannot happen soon enough. And I don't know why these guys and gals in Congress overcomplicate these things. I genuinely don't understand what takes so long. Now, I've said, and I do believe that PBS will be okay. I think PBS will have generous donors who will make up some of the shortfall, and they'll be fine, whether it's in Kansas City or at the national level. They'll save Sesame Street, all right? I promise you that'll happen. They'll save, and they should save, programs like our friend Nick Haynes. And I'm not just saying that because he's on there. I think they do a good job down the middle, well-versed, well-thought-out show for Kansas City. And, I think that they'll get the donations that they need. NPR, totally worthless. No need for it. Very much leaning left-wing. And they can compete in the free marketplace. They have every right to exist. I have no issue with NPR doing its thing. None whatsoever. It's competition. That's great. But it shouldn't be competition funded by our taxpayer monies. Of all the things that we waste money on at the federal government level, ask yourself this on a Friday. You're getting up. You're going to work. Maybe you've had your coffee. I'm halfway done with mine. Is there anything that bothers you more than wasting money on a media outlet that most likely doesn't have anywhere close to the same values as you? It's not like, hey, if you don't like this show or another show, whatever, you flip the dial. It's no big deal. You don't want to support our sponsors. I mean, that's your prerogative. We would love for you to do that. That's what keeps us going here on KCMO. But it's no skin off your back if you don't. But your taxpayer money, the money that you are handing to the government, going to fund a radio station? And not just this one in Kansas City, but all over the country? Is there anything more obscene and more offensive than that right now? Especially at a time when, if there's one thing we don't need the government to fund, it's media. There is no shortage of radio, TV, YouTube channels, information out there, wherever you want to get it. The government has no business funding radio like NPR, especially when they're nothing but hucksters for one side and grifters for one side of the political aisle, which is clear as day. So I posted this last night. I got some weird responses on this whole thing. I couldn't believe this. Dylan writes back to me. He's a KU guy. I know this.
Talk about a
shock you.
bombshell.
KU guy writes to me, should we defund Fox News because they lean a certain way with their broadcasting? And I just wrote back, is this a serious post? If you can't understand the difference between NPR and Fox News as it relates to government funding, then I can't help you. I woke up to that this morning and I kind of rubbed my eyes at 4 a.m. And I'm like, am I dreaming right now? Am I seeing? Did someone really write that back to me on my social media? Were they drinking last night? Are they not really understanding the difference between NPR and Fox News? One who gets a big chunk of money from the government, the other one who has nothing to do with government funding, John?
A commercial advertiser, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I was stunned.
I'm sure Fox will be glad to take anything.
Yeah.
Free stamps
Yeah.
for the mailroom,
Yeah.
anything. Postal machine.
Oh, man. I just couldn't believe that. It's like, what are they teaching at KU? When you have serious graduates who work in media who are going into my mentions and saying to themselves, hey, we got a great idea. Let's compare Fox to NPR as if they're both receiving government dollars, said nobody ever.
I got an idea. What if we give NPR exactly what Fox gets?
Yes.
There
yes.
you go.
Yes.
Equitable.
Yes. Only fair. Spot on there, my man. Only fair. On the text line, 913-408-7957. Oh, this is great. Pete, I work for a pretty progressive company, and I decided yesterday to start closing my emails with a thank you for your attention to this matter. I'll report back when or if I get a call from HR. Oh, that's outstanding. It's a great idea, too. Should I steal that idea?
It's the standard reply on my Microsoft Word document. It autofilled for me.
Every time.
Every time. Oh, man, every time I'm emailing an engineer or the promo department or sales managers or sales staff, I'm going to end it with a thank you for your attention to this matter. Now, the question is, do you put an exclamation point on it too, like Trump does in all of his tweets, or do you just put a comma at the end? Because that might be a dead giveaway for some people. Someone's going to pick up on it at some point.
Exclamation for sure.
It depends on the situation.
Yeah.
You're issuing a directive.
Yes. Yeah, but
Otherwise, if you're just making a general, this is my out. Have a nice day. Thank you for your attention to this matter. 3 dots.
yeah,
Dot,
or do the dot thing. It drives me a little nuts, but I may have to do that just to split the difference here. On the text line, Pete, there are 3 radio stations in Kansas City claiming they will be hurt by public funds getting cut. Why are we paying these stations money? They only have one view. Yeah, bingo. There is zero reason for any of us to fund this. None whatsoever. Coming up on KCMO, and the sooner the better for Congress to just do this rescissions package. It's like this can be done in a day. And for some reason, it takes these guys and gals forever. Coming up, Mark may find himself as a household name here in Kansas. I mean, he already is on radio, but he may be a star in this town before long. That's right. He may find himself in a position where everybody in this town knows his mugshot. We'll tell you why and what he's got going on and what we have going on. Coming up on 95.7 FM KCMO.
You're listening to Mundo in the Morning on KCMO Talk Radio 95.7 FM.
Got my visit with our good buddy Bill coming up here in about 10 days. We will be hanging out, catching up. I'm going to try to twist his arm to get out to Kansas City, maybe. Dare I say, this fall. I will make the pitch as best I can and let the chips fall where they may. And then, if we can pull that off, he can meet maybe the next TV rock star from Kansas City, our very own Mark Van Sickle. Mark, I know you can't share all the details, but you asked me a few weeks ago if you could audition for a television miniseries? How do we want to describe this?
Yeah, it was called an Untitled Casey series.
Television. Might it have some rhyming with lead tasso or something like that? Might that be in the mix?
Potentially. I really don't know.
Okay.
It says Casey Untitled Series.
Yeah.
I saw it was in some articles, around town, Fox 4, KCTV5, doing some stuff about this place possibly being filmed in the area. I don't know.
All right. So you asked and you wanted to apply to be what? A fill-in, a stand-in? Is that what we're calling this?
Yeah, I applied to be a stand-in or also an extra.
Okay. All right.
So stand-in, I would fill in for a main character and just stand there as they do the lighting and stuff like that. So I don't know if I would actually technically be on the camera if that's the case.
So it sounds like an extra is a better deal.
An extra, I think, would put me possibly in some shots.
Yes. So we would see your mug.
Yeah.
Okay. What do they pay for this?
It looks like they're paying $150 per day.
And we're talking a full 8-hour day?
Yeah.
All right. It's not great. It's not bad. I mean,
just to stand there.
It's easy work to stand around, I guess, right?
Yeah.
There's no lines or anything of that nature.
Yeah.
It could be a career starter, though, in many respects. Do you know, does the stand-in pay the same as the extra? Or are they different paychecks?
Oh, that's a good question.
See, I just think if they're using your name, image, likeness as an extra, that should be worth more than just being the stand-in guy while they check the lighting.
Yeah, that's true. I do believe the stand-ins will get their names in the credits, though.
Oh.
I don't think extras will.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't see that coming. So the stand-ins get their names in the credits, but the extras don't.
I believe that's how it works.
Wow. Okay. Well, if you need someone to negotiate on your behalf, just let me know because I think the extras should still get a little more coin. If they're using that big, beautiful beard of yours with you got to wear a Royals hat or a Chiefs hat or something like that.
That was the funny thing. They said on the headshots, they're like, no hats. So I had to dig back into the bag for that.
So you had to get a real headshot to apply for this gig, and they told you they're interested.
Yeah.
Wow. Man, just remember us little people like myself and John when you hit it big time, all right?
Oh, yeah.
Man.
Be right there.
All right. So you're going to find out here in the next couple of weeks, I believe.
Oh, yeah. Got to be before the end of July, so.
Because the shooting's coming up here in about 2 weeks, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Wow. And the shooting's on the Missouri side of the state line?
Yes, for that one series, they said in Blue Springs.
Ooh,
yes.
All right. All right, Mark. Well, you keep us posted, man. I know this audience has your back.
I could end up potentially as a stand-in and as an extra.
Oh,
there is that possibility.
There is that possibility.
Yeah, that was in one of the emails I saw.
Double dipping.
So, yeah, I could be a parent, teacher, or coach.
Parent?
Allegedly.
Oh, you make a great coach.
I think I could be a coach.
You make a, parent. I mean, listen.
I'm a parent.
You are a parent. But I think you'd make a great coach.
Thank you.
Listen, if I'm casting and I see Mark walk in, that guy's got coach written all over him.
Yeah, I go in as a stand there like, hey, we need you as a coach as well.
Hey, Coach V, you get over here. That's right. Oh, man, you would be a natural at that. That's outstanding. And we got a rising star in our hands here. John and I are just trying to keep up with old Mark once he hits the big screen there, John.
Bring a lanyard with a whistle in your pocket so you can whip it out, put it on if you need it.
Yeah.
Great advice.
That is great. You got to do that, Mark. We're just trying to help here, buddy. Now, yesterday, I saw some folks on social media going to see the new Superman movie that came out. I don't know if you guys are going to be going to see that. I don't know if you're going to take the girls, Mark, to see the new Superman movie.
I'd probably go with a friend. I don't think
Okay.
I'd take them to it.
Yeah, I would think that that's the play. Not sure it's for little girls. But it came out. There was a lot of speculation that it was going to be a wokeified Superman. But the feedback that I've seen so far on social media from people who would have been very quick to suggest that they wokeified Superman have insisted that's not the case. So do with this what you want. But Superman, according to the reviews I'm seeing and just the organic feedback I'm seeing, is that Superman was not wokeified in this movie that came out yesterday.
I already saw a handful of friends on Facebook have already seen it, and they all gave great reviews. So.
Yeah. So good for them. And you know what? I'm glad. I want it to be good. Like, I didn't want Superman to be this kind of woke guy who's like, you know what? I might decide to be Superwoman this time around. Like, I didn't want any of that. And the reviews have come back positive on that front. So good thing all around there. 913-408-7957. That's how you join us on a Friday morning on KCMO Talk Radio 95.7 FM. Coming up, we are 1 year, almost to the day, since President Trump nearly lost his life. What is the reaction to it and the thoughts on it? We'll get to. What is he saying next?
Dave Ramsey here, and you're listening to Pete Mundo on KCMO Talk Radio, now airing on FM at 95.7.
Sunday will be 1 year to the day since President Trump nearly lost his life in a field in Butler, Pennsylvania. And it will be one of those moments that for all of us, who not just followed the news cycle, but literally just remember where we were at that time. Like my kids won't, obviously, they're little. But if you've got any kind of a memory, you are going to remember where exactly you were when you heard that Donald Trump was shot. For me, I was on the back porch getting set to put chicken on the grill when I actually got a text from a salesperson saying Trump was shot. And I flip on the television out on the back porch, and I was trying to comprehend it at first. I'm like, what is going on? Where was this? What is he doing? What just happened? And then, of course, scoot up here to the radio station for the next several hours and cover what was a historic moment. But most of you are going to know exactly where you were when you heard the news. Some of you might have been watching the rally and the speech in Pennsylvania, right? Some of you might have seen it in real time. But we are 1 year removed from a moment that would have changed the course of history in this country for a very long time, and would have also been one of the most tumultuous things in American politics to have happened in 150 years. The way this country would have changed, how different it would have looked had the shooter come within a quarter inch on the right side, had Donald Trump not tilted his head at the perfect angle looking up at a screen to his right. It's hard to comprehend how different this country would look today. And I don't just mean from a political perspective, like who would be in the White House. I mean, socially, what our interactions would be like right now. Do you think there's political divide in this country today? Could you imagine? Had that shooter not missed? 913-408-7957. I want to open it up to you here on a Friday morning and get your reaction and your thoughts on that 1 year later, because the anniversary, for lack of a better word, is coming up on Sunday. Now, the president is going to be on his daughter-in-law's TV show tomorrow night, Lara Trump. She does a Saturday night show on Fox News, and they released a clip of the president reacting to this moment 1 year later. Once again, this will air tomorrow night on Fox News with Lara Trump, and here's what the president had to say.
Well, it was unforgettable. I didn't know exactly what was going on. I got whacked. There's no question about that. And fortunately got down quickly. And people were screaming, and I got down quickly, fortunately, because I think they shot 8 bullets. And one got me, and one got another one, and one got another one, and one killed Corey, the firefighter, great guy. And, we had a tremendous, massive crowd. Tens of thousands of people were there. And our sniper, within less than 5 seconds, was able to get him from a long distance with one shot. If he didn't do that, you would have had an even worse situation.
As I hear the president say that, what's interesting to me is that was about a 48-second clip. He didn't spend the entire clip talking about himself. He actually spent most of the clip talking about other people. He kind of downplayed like the, woe is me, oh man, this country would have been screwed if I wasn't alive today, and I wouldn't have won the election, and oh my goodness. He goes on to say, well, it was unforgettable. I mean, as only Trump can do. The guy literally had part of his ear shot off. He came within a quarter inch of losing his life, And what's his response 1 year later? Well, it certainly was an unforgettable experience. The most Trumpian answer, but also not the answer that his critics would have likely predicted 1 year later. It wasn't a me, all about me kind of an answer. It was, unforgettable, got down quickly. And then let's give credit to the sniper. Let's give credit to the first responders. Let's not forget about Corey, the guy who actually lost his life, who was behind the stage where President Trump was speaking. He did all of that on the back end of that clip. He almost downplayed his own situation in a weird, many would call it, un-Trumpian kind of way. And he'll never get credit for that. And I'm not saying he should. I'm not going to sit here and wax poetic about the answer. But considering how people portray the guy, that's not the answer that they would have projected out of him. If you were going to say, hey, how would Trump respond in his first public comments about the 1 year anniversary of the day he was almost killed? That would not have been the answer most people would have predicted. And I mean, most of, especially the naysayers and the critics. That's not the answer that a lot of people would have predicted. And to me, that's telling. And you can't see it, obviously, on the radio, but you can kind of hear it where, especially about halfway through the clip, he almost has I don't want to say a smirk on his face, but he's talking about this in a way that doesn't come across as maybe as serious as it should based on what nearly happened and how it would have changed the country. And to me, I'm guessing, and this is just my putting on my fake psychologist hat here for a second, I almost think that for Trump, that's a defense mechanism. He doesn't want to be the guy that's letting people really deep into his emotions. That's just not who he is, right? He's got that strong man approach, and he's entitled to that, and that's really how he's always been, whether it's in business or politics. So by almost downplaying it, almost smirking about the reaction in hindsight, is a way to not let people too far in, because he doesn't want that to be perceived as part of his brand, right? That's not what he's interested in doing. And I don't blame him for feeling that way. It's the approach you would expect on that front from Donald Trump. But it is a day that would have changed the course of American history and our politics in this country for a very long time to come. I don't think that can be understated. Not just when it comes to the election last year itself. Who knows? Don't forget, Joe Biden didn't drop out until after that happened. Would Joe Biden have dropped out of the race? That was perceived to be a moment that Trump, who was already surging about 2 weeks after the debate in late June where Biden didn't know where the heck he was the whole night, then this happens, and it's like, man, Trump's got all the momentum. As sick as it was to think about, that was a huge momentum boost for Trump as well, with not just what happened, but how he reacted in that moment. That led to a massive week for that Republican National Convention. And then, give or take a week later, I think it was 6 days later, Joe Biden drops out. Kamala Harris jumps in. Does Biden even drop out of the race? Probably not at that point in time, because then you would have said, well, this guy is the incumbent. Even if he's totally comatose, at least people know him. There's a value to the incumbency that doesn't exist for someone like Kamala Harris. So let's just leave this guy here because people are going to be looking for stability in America right now. Republicans will be in chaos. Biden's going to be the guy that's just sitting there. And they might have continued on with this charade for the next 4 years. And it actually might have worked, as scary as that is. So there's so much short-term, long-term, politically, culturally, societally, that could have looked different in America today had that bullet been a quarter inch to the right of where it was. 913-408-7957. As we sit here and roll through the show with you on a Friday morning on KCMO 95.7 FM. On the text line, Pete, I'm headed back to Chicago this morning. I just got to Iowa. I lost you on 95.7 a few miles back, But the 710 AM signal is still going strong. I love that. Let's go. Woo! And once you lose us on the 710 AM signal, you know what to do, right? Then you go to the KCMO Talk Radio app. It's really that simple. And then you keep going all the way to Chicago with KCMO 95.7 FM. 913-408-7957. As we sit here 1 year later, how do you believe America would look different? Sunday will be that anniversary of President Trump nearly being killed. 913-408-7957.
from the nation's heartland. It's Mundo in the Morning on 95.7 FM KCMO Talk Radio.
Gonna pivot here. We got some breaking news out of North Kansas City. This comes from one of the commissioners up there for the Western District, Jason Withington. Major update in the ongoing stadium decision saga, this time from North Kansas City. Jason Withington sharing that the Royals have contacted them with terms for a possible stadium deal in the Northland. Sharing here that Clay County has received a term sheet from the team outlining their vision for a potential deal at the North Kansas City site. KCTV5 has reached out to the Royals and is actively contacting other cities to confirm whether counties outside of Clay have received similar terms from the Royals. Now, this doesn't mean that it's a done deal by any stretch, but it's certainly a development in the entire process. So this news here just breaking in the last couple of minutes. I just wanted to get this to you quickly on KCMO that once again, if you missed it, the Royals have contacted Clay County, and the county has received a term sheet from the team outlining their very potential deal. Now, not a done deal, certainly a little different from what the mayor of Kansas City said yesterday at this time when he alluded to the fact that North Kansas City is actually going to be a better fit for the Chiefs practice facility than it is the Kansas City Royals. He's holding out hope, of course, for Washington Square Park. And the other development today is that you have the governor of Missouri coming up to North Kansas City. Mike Kehoe will be at Chapels today to sign the Clay County Sports Authority bill that will allow Clay County to develop its own sports authority similar to what Jackson County has that would theoretically oversee a team like the Royals being in Clay County. So that's all happening right now in real time. The other backdrop to this, I mean, this is going to be a hell of a book one day. You've got Jackson County recalling its executive, Frank White. And something that came down yesterday on this front is Mark Donovan, of course, the team president for the Kansas City Chiefs, telling Fox 4 this about their involvement in the recall effort of Frank White.
So we haven't had anything to do with that, nor do we want anything to do with that. They have their issues they got to work through.
We have not done anything when it comes to the recall effort of Frank White, and we want nothing to do with that. Now, I believe Mark Donovan there. I totally believe him. Because Frank White isn't really, while Frank White was a no vote and, of course, lobbied against the teams last year, extending that 3/8 sales tax, it was more about the Royals than it was the Chiefs because we all know the personal history between Frank and the Royals. It's not healthy. It's not a good relationship. It wasn't, the Chiefs were very secondary in all this. I actually believe that Frank White, and from what I've gathered and heard, has been and would be more than willing to work with the Chiefs. The Royals are the problem from Frank White's perspective. They always have been. So I totally believe Mark Donovan, and I think he's completely telling the truth on that front. It's not about the Chiefs getting in the way. The Chiefs just want to get a deal done, and they are the easier part of this equation on the Missouri side of the state line, assuming that their plan on the Missouri side would be to just upgrade Arrowhead Stadium and then maybe do something with the surrounding grounds. That's a pretty simple deal. The voters would like it, and I don't think Frank would really get in the way of that. It's how do the Royals possibly strike a deal on the Missouri side of the state line, specifically in Jackson County, with the county executive acting as he is acting. If they actually do recall Frank White, that actually helps Quentin Lucas and helps the city of Kansas City try to keep the team in Jackson County. But there are a lot of roadblocks to making that happen. And that's why North Kansas City continues to look like a more appealing site by the day for the Royals. If they want to maintain that downtown vibe, have some views of downtown as well, but also having the benefits of being in Clay County, much more friendly when it comes to law enforcement, having the bodies, the support, lower taxes that they would be looking for, all that brings North Kansas City to the forefront. Along with having the backing of the state, it appears to be a better financial deal. I'm not saying on pure numbers. I know Kansas is up to 70% with these star bonds, but when you factor in some of the ancillary side of what Missouri can offer, I do think right now it appears to be a better deal than what Kansas can do, unless you get a local element in Kansas, right? Unless you get Overland Park or you get Johnson County or Wyandotte County stepping up to the plate in some capacity. All in, I still think Missouri appears like it will have a better deal on the table when all is said and done, especially if you get that local sales tax component to this whole thing. So that's the development this morning here on KCMO. Something else that was sent to me yesterday on this front. You know, we talked a lot about these star bonds and what they are in Kansas and how you can basically issue these bonds, create a district, and the additional sales tax funds would be used to pay off the bonds. Get a load of this. Lawrence Journal World. KU is asking for a star bond district that covers the entire KU campus, including the new development that's going on west of Iowa Street. Here's a piece of the article that I wanted to share with you. So basically, KU is trying to draw a star bond district to help out with their new stadium. This is totally bogus, by the way. However you feel about, it's not like a KU, anti-KU. You know, I don't have a dog in that fight. I don't. I'm not doing KU over K-State, K-State over KU, KU over Mizzou. I'm not playing in that space. At least until my kids go to one of those colleges, then I'll have no choice. I mean, if I'm footing a bill for one of these places, I might be a little biased. But right now, I got no skin in the game, okay? So they write here at the Lawrence Journal World, if for some reason the new development is a flop and the area around the stadium only produces $500,000 in sales taxes, the developers would not get any money for the star bonds. They would be left to figure out how to pay those costs on their own. However, KU is hedging its bets. It is asking the city commission to draw a very large star bond district. Instead of the district being in the area immediately around the stadium, the district is the entire KU campus, including West Campus. The Lawrence Journal World notes that's very important because West Campus currently is developing with new commercial projects. A Dillon's grocery store is under construction. Plans for an Olive Garden restaurant are moving forward. If you're relying to pay back your star bonds on an Olive Garden, I don't like your odds. All right? I mean, unless you got John showing up eating all the breadsticks. Thus, when you buy groceries at Dillon's or eat 14 pounds of breadsticks at Olive Garden, a good portion of the sales taxes you pay on those purchases will be used to fund improvements at the stadium site. That's a freaking joke. I mean, you want to talk about a prime example of how to abuse star bonds? KU's trying to do it. And this is exactly what I would fear the Chiefs would try to do if they would go to the Kansas side of the state line. We've got an update on a story that the Kansas City media continues to avoid coming up next. Only one Kansas City media outlet elected to update the story that came down 2 days ago on this guy, Carlos Climaco Garcia, 26-year-old, who is in custody on 2 felony child molestation charges. This after on July 4th at Smithville Lake, he tried to take advantage of 2 13-year-old girls. Now, we shared with you yesterday, still no one in Kansas City has posted this much about this case, but I have it, and we shared on very good authority that this individual, Carlos Climaco Garcia, has had a detainer placed on him by ICE. The only other media outlet in Kansas City to even update its story on this, to share anything new on this, is KCTV5. To their credit, KCTV5 did talk to the Clay County Prosecutor's Office. And the Clay County Prosecutor's Office said that they are unaware if this man is in the U.S. legally or illegally. What they did share is that Climaco Garcia was in the United States with only a Guatemalan ID. The state also said he was accompanied by someone who had an ICE detainer. So I'm standing by my reporting. Frankly, the Clay County Prosecutor's Office has been very gun shy when it comes to doing anything and giving any attention to the media after what happened with Andrew Lester and Ralph Yarl a couple of years ago. They have totally avoided the entire thing. They want nothing to do with media. Zachary Thompson, the Clay County prosecutor, has been very hesitant to draw any attention to himself or his office. So I think he gave KCTV5 what he had to give KCTV5. But I'm telling you, on good authority, ICE wants this guy. They want to know more. They want to dig a little bit, and they want to figure out what their next steps are going to be. And now the question becomes this. If you're the prosecutor's office in Clay County, what do you do? Do you spend time, resources, and money prosecuting this guy? Or if it turns out that ICE is like, hey, he's here illegally, we'll take care of this, we'll send him back to his country, do you just send him back and say, we're not going to waste time, money, or resources on this in Clay County? So here's what I would do. I would just say, ICE, you take him, you get him out of the country, we're done. Now, you might say, well, that's not justice. No. He tried to assault 2 young girls at Smithville Lake. We need justice here in Clay County. If somebody else was in the White House, if Joe Biden was still in the White House, come on, man, I would agree with you, because I would not have confidence in this guy not returning to the United States, right? I mean, if we just shipped them out and ICE sent them home, well, you know, when you allowed 10, 12, 15 million people into the country over 4 years, it would be very easy to get back in. Right now, there really are no border crossings. Now, you know, that's a little bit of an exaggeration, but it is nearly down to zero because we actually have somebody who's in charge who's, you know, doing what you have to do along the southern border. So as much as I would love to see justice here in the United States, like, do I think right now that's a good use of taxpayer dollars? And do you at 913-408-7957? Like, I'm just sitting here and I'm taking a step back and I'm saying, as much as I want this guy, if what he did, he actually did, and I understand it's all allegations right now, but if this individual is as big of a sleazeball as we suspect that he is, trying to, you know, molest 2 girls at Smithville Lake under the age of 14 as a 26-year-old grown man on July 4th, trust me, as the father of 3 daughters, my kids, what I would do to this guy would not result in me being in this chair the next day. I'll just leave it at that. But then I'm sitting and I'm trying to put on my, you know, thinking cap a little bit here, which I use once in a while. Probably should use it more often. But I sit back and I say, because we have the border closed, because we have somebody in charge who is actually doing the job that we should be doing, I'm going to send this guy back to, I guess it's Guatemala, because that's the only ID he had on him. and say, even if he's not going to face charges there, he's not going to be the problem of the Clay County resident, the American citizen, or the taxpayer. 913-408-7957. Paul in Kansas City is first up. Hey, Paul, good morning. You're on KCMO.
Hey, brother, I totally agree with you. Don't waste the taxpayers' money up there. But here's what I would caveat on that. I would call down, either I would send him down to Alcatraz down in Florida, and then I'd ship him to South Sudan. That would be justice. Or if I ship him to Guatemala, I call down to Guatemala. I call the prosecutor out there and say, hey, look, this guy attacked 2 of our girls up here. Can you make sure you guys take care and make sure he gets justice down there? That would be good.
Yeah, that would be. I mean, I don't know how you do that, though, if it's still just an allegation here in the States, right?
No, I understand. But send the whole case file down there and say, hey, look, here's what we got. These are all the witness statements. This is everything we got. You guys do what you want with it. But if you do something, just let us know so we can tell the families, hey, he's in a jungle somewhere working in a stone quarry or something.
Yeah. No, listen, I trust me. And that's where, as the father of daughters, I emotionally want more justice than just go back home to Guatemala. Yeah. But man, you've got so many of these bad actors right now around the United States spending what would be a massive amount of taxpayer dollars on and in the U.S. legal system for these people. Just it doesn't feel realistic because then they got to hang out in our prisons and our jails for a while, right? I mean that in and of itself, these guys are taking up jail space here in the United States for what?
Yeah, just drop him off in South Sudan and let him work his way back. There you go.
Only it was that easy. Thank you, Paul. I appreciate you, man. Have a great weekend.
Have a good weekend.
Jeffrey's in Smithville. Hey, Jeffrey, good morning.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you, my man. What's going on?
Hey, a little bit of a different perspective, I guess. If you go forward with the charges and then deport him, that's going to result in a fail to appear warrant. So that way, if, let's say, 2-3 years from now, everything that Trump's accomplished, our borders open back up, this guy comes back, at least we got automatic, felony charges to where they're going to hold him nationwide on it.
That is listen, I've thought about that because we all know, I mean, just with how the country works, a Democrat will be in the White House at some point and they may look at the border like the last guy did. You're right. The question is, how much time and how much money do you spend on that, knowing full well the legal system takes way longer than it should?
Right. I guess you got to weigh in, if he does it again, what's somebody who's going to molest a teenager, what's it worth to you? And I would say as much as it takes to prevent that from happening again,
Mm-hmm. Listen, I don't inherently, thank you, Jeffrey. I don't hate that answer. I don't. On the text line, similar, Pete, you've got to prosecute. If not, he'll be allowed to come back here in a few years. He'll have no criminal convictions. And he's got to be prosecuted. Yeah, I mean, it's sad to have to think like this. It's sad to have to think like, well, if the wrong person gets into the White House, we'll have another flood of 10, 15 million people here, and no one's going to know who's coming in and who these people are and what their backgrounds are. It's sad to have to think that way. I really wish we had a country politically right now where I didn't have to think, well, if a Democrat got in there, they're going to allow the borders to be flooded once again. I'd rather have a bunch of Democrats who are in charge who are like, yeah, no, actually what Trump's doing on the border is great. They might have different policies and other things and want to tweak tax rates and things of that nature. But it would be great to know that we all agreed on the issue of immigration and how to handle our borders and just block them off. But we don't have that right now.
We get hung up in all this stuff. It's like, let's not forget, if this is the case in this situation, they're here illegally.
Mm-hmm.
That's crime number one. We deal with that and go from there. The fact that you want to put a parking ticket or what have you also on there just to double down. It's let's just deal with the fact that when they're here illegally, they have no other rights.
Yep, and bringing back that kind of common sense would certainly be welcomed, would it not? Jeez. 913-408-7957. Tell you, join us on KCMO Talk Radio 95.7 FM. We are streaming on the KCMO Talk Radio app. Coming up, One of the biggest stories that people have been harping on for a quarter century has not changed hearts and minds. We'll tell you what that is next.
Stream Mundo in the morning on the KCMO Talk Radio app.
Think about all the time, resources, and money that's been dumped into climate change in this country, right? I mean, we're seeing the conversation week in the wake of the tragedy in Texas, which has nothing to do with climate change. And you heard that from meteorologists. I mean, we talked to Brett Anthony on Monday, former KCTV5 meteorologist, and he's like, this is crazy. That Guadalupe River has flooded for 100 years since people have been living around there. On and off for the last 25 years, it's happened. But some people can't help themselves, right? So look at this. This is Harry Enton. This guy's hilarious on CNN. Like, he's not trying to be funny, but he's just super hyper, over the top energetic. But the presentation is actually pretty amusing. And he was sharing some of the research that they've done lately that shows the percentage of people who really care and think that climate change is like going to dramatically impact their lives has really been unchanged for the better part of a quarter century.
Are Americans afraid of climate change? And the answer is Americans aren't afraid of climate change. Climate activists have not successfully made the case to the American people. I want you to take a look here. Greatly worried about climate change. We have data going all the way back since 1989. Look at that. It was 35%. 2000, 40%. 2020, 46%. And 2025, 40%, which is the exact same percentage as back in 2000. Despite all of these horrible weather events, the percentage of Americans who are greatly worried about climate change has stayed pretty gosh darn consistent, which kind of boggles the mind a little bit. Granted, everything that we see on our television screens, our computer screens, the hurricanes, tornadoes, the flooding, but yet greatly worried about climate change, 40% in 2025, the exact same percentage as back in 2000.
You mean having a little socialist Dutch girl sailing around the planet wasn't going to be the person that was going to convince everybody that they've got to care about climate change?
How dare you?
I can't believe it. Color me shocked. The number's unchanged. 40% of people believe it's something that we really need to care about, and that is unchanged in 25 years. Now, you still may say that's a pretty high number. That's fine. But given the amount of attention that it's received in media, the time, the energy, the effort, the research that has been put on this issue, and the fact that really no one's mind has been changed on either side is fascinating to me and very telling. They are shouting into a microphone, and they're shouting at the same people who already believe what they want them to believe on this stuff. That's it. Now, the people who are trying to tie into what happened in South Central Texas last week and how that's somehow part of this massive climate change deal, I mean, that is so offensive as they continue to look for bodies down there in Texas. It's absolutely absurd. But speaking of what happened down there, the president of the United States is going to Texas today. He is going to tour the flood damage. He's going to meet with families. He will do a roundtable as well that likely will result in a press conference. And this story is actually a good one from CNN. Just talking about Harry Enton of CNN. Now here's the story from CNN. Camp Mystic's owner warned of floods for decades. Then the river killed him. Dick Eastland warned for decades about the hidden dangers of the beautiful but volatile Guadalupe River, a peril he saw firsthand while running his family's youth camp alongside its banks. He successfully pushed for a new flood warning system after 10 children at a nearby camp were swept away to their deaths in 1987. Eastland told the Austin American-Statesman back in 1990, the river is beautiful, but you have to respect it. Now, Eastland himself died this past week trying to rescue his young campers at Camp Mystic. Just an absolute tragedy. But here's some of the history. About a decade after this system was installed, the warning system that Eastland had championed in the late 80s became antiquated and broken. The River Authority ultimately shut it down in 1999, saying it was unreliable, with some of the system stations not reporting information. Yet periodic attempts to adopt a more modern flood monitoring system, including one with warning sirens that might have alerted campers last week, repeatedly failed to gain traction. Stalled by low budgets, some local opposition, and lack of state support. So like that right there, if you're just looking at this story, I'm not saying what I'm saying to like protect the president from criticism here. It would be fair to criticize the federal government based on how FEMA reacts in the days and weeks to come. But this story goes back 40 years. And it's a local issue. It's a state issue. It's got nothing to do with a guy that showed up in the White House for the second time 5-6 months ago. It's crazy. And CNN, to its credit, is doing a good job here covering this. Camp Mystic, they write, has a long history with flooding. Going back just a few years after it was established 99 years ago. In 1932, floodwaters swept away several cabins at the camp and led campers to evacuate across the river by canoe. In 1978, an article in the Kerrville Mountain Sun reported that Camp Mystic was the most severely damaged of local summer camps affected by floods that year. In 1985, Dick Eastland's wife, then pregnant with their fourth child, had to be airlifted from Camp Mystic to a hospital due to floodwaters. So this is something that has been part of the Guadalupe River for the better part of a century, since people started going there and camping there and having events and camps down there. And this is something that this man, the late Dick Eastland, who died last week and was the owner of Camp Mystic, has been fighting for the better part of 40 years. So the absurdity of looking at one guy, and let's be honest, with Trump, and I'm not saying he's wrong on this, you think Trump knew where the Guadalupe River was 2 weeks ago? I don't think most people did, unless you're, of course, down there in Texas. To suggest it's got anything to do with Doge and cuts and, oh my goodness, this is why you can't shrink the federal government, as if a larger bureaucracy would have been the answer. It is so much deeper than that. And for people who are just trying to make this about one guy, it's pretty sick and disturbing. Coming up, this popped up on social media. Let's have fun with this on a Friday. Is Kansas the Midwest or the Plains? We'll dive into it with you next.
KCMO, Kansas City's place to talk. On 95.7 FM and 710 AM. A Cumulus media station. Call Mundo 913-408-7957. Now on 95.7 FM.
All right, we got to settle it once and for all. 8:34 on a Friday morning. Kansas, is it the Midwest or is it the Great Plains? All right, here's the backstory to this. I was trying to explain it to John during the break since he got shut down on Twitter years ago, and he's not on my preferred social media app.
Maybe I should try again.
Yeah, you might be worth a shot. So there was a list I saw of the top 10 most beautiful college towns in the Midwest. And it had Lawrence at number 2 on the list. It did not have Manhattan or Columbia on the list. So I just posed the question to my followers on X, and I said, hey, should Manhattan and or Columbia be on this list? And a follower of mine said Columbia should be on the list. Manhattan should not, because Manhattan is in Kansas, which is not the Midwest. And then the floodgates opened up.
Okay.
So then I just said, settle this once and for all. And I put it on Facebook and I put it on X. Is Kansas in the Midwest or is it in the Plains? Now, I thought this was going to be a done deal, okay? Because I would have said, yes, it's in the Midwest. Midwest, middle of the country. But the amount of people, and these are some Kansans too, who are like, we are part of the Great Plains. We are not the Midwest. I'm like, wait, what?
Killing me, man.
What? What are we doing
They're
here,
one
John?
and the same in my mind, for goodness sake.
Thank you.
The Plains are in the Midwest.
Thank you.
West.
Thank you.
The Midwest starts at the Mississippi River.
Now, that's where I disagree with you.
Okay, but well, they've got St. Louis put up an arch to prove it.
So what is Illinois?
Well, I suppose it's the Midwest. Well, in my mind, I guess I would just break it down in time zones. So I've heard Ohio referred to as the Midwest from East Coast media. I'm like, what are you talking about? It's in the Eastern time zone.
So
time zones for me, I suppose, as much as anything.
But what if the Midwest, see, to me, the East Coast is Pennsylvania going up northeast from there. Ohio starts the Midwest that runs all the way out to Colorado. Is that too big of a footprint for you?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
I just don't like our sensibilities to Ohioans typically.
See, what I think we've got the Northeast, we've got the Southeast, we've got the Midwest, we have the Southwest. Oklahoma is kind of in that awkward spot. I consider Oklahoma more of a Southwest state than I do a Midwest state. And then we've got the West Coast. Northwest, I guess, is his own geographical area.
You got your Mason-Dixon line.
Yeah.
You got your Mississippi River.
Mark, what do you got for me here?
Well, I always think of Michigan and Ohio as the northern Midwest.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now you're getting a little specific within the Midwest.
And Nebraska, Kansas are the Plains part of the Midwest.
So you're saying there are subsets within the Midwest?
Yes.
Yeah, it's like when does Northwest become Northwest?
Yeah.
And then Northwest-West. There's so many ways to split it. It's silly, but in general, the Plains are the Midwest. So I'm not debating that point at all. I'm going, yes. The answer to that is yes.
I was amazed, though, how many people were insistent that Kansas is not part of the Midwest. It's its own category that we consider the Plains. And I asked someone to break this down.
The border wars.
I know. And they're like, no, the Dakotas are like the northern plains. Same with Nebraska. Then you get down here to Kansas, Oklahoma. We're the southern plains. And I'm like, this is getting too complicated, okay?
It just boils down to Kansas. If Missouri's there, we're not in it. It's the whole,
I wondered if that's what was going on here.
No, it originated here, I think, in this part of the country, whatever you call it, the Midwest, the Plains.
Yeah, there seemed to be a lot of that going on. So I was like, all right, we're going to bring this up this morning and get the text line input because I knew that people were going to have an opinion on this.
I'm sure
one.
Lawrence wants to separate itself from Manhattan even somehow. So.
Yeah, Eastern Kansas is the Midwest. Western Kansas is the Plains.
Well, some people were trying to break it down within the state of Kansas.
Yeah.
And I'm like, guys, you can't. This is way too much.
Mm-hmm.
Way too much. We've got the Northeast. We've got the Southeast. We've got the Midwest. We've got the Southwest. We've got the Northwest. And we've got the West Coast.
And the junction double Y, take a left, Fred's Silo there. That's the beginning from Fred's Silo on east.
On the text line, Pete, what about the Great Lakes states and the Great Plains? See, I don't want to get into that. That's too many subsets. We've got the Midwest that'll run Ohio out to Western Kansas and then north from there.
Now
Everything
we
in
sound
between.
like the Republican Party breaking down
Yeah.
into all of our little groups.
Yes, we got the MAGAs. We
The
got
great
the
North Midwest,
fiscal
east of the lakes.
We're not doing that. That's too much. It's too complex. We're Kansas and Missouri. We're both part of the Midwest. And if you don't like it, that's that. Okay? We've settled the debate here on KCMO. There's nothing more to it. Can we agree on that much, fellas? The three of us are on the same page at least?
Absolutely. And if you're from Jersey, there's nothing to see here. Move
No,
along.
please keep going. Want no part of you. We got that? All good? Okay, great. We've settled that debate then once and for all. I just wanted to make sure that
great minds.
we got it all down. That's it. That's all I got for you. 913-408-7957.
Tune in Monday when we do Plaza or Plaza.
No, we don't want to go down that road.
Wardell.
Speaking of things we can agree on, Mark, give me something good to put a bow on this.
No, I was just saying, Oklahoma has a whole song about the winds whipping down the plains, so they got to be a plains state.
Well,
but
the
we
winds are
disagree.
coming
There's
from the plains.
no. Don't hit the reset button on this, Mark.
That's why I was waving it off.
We just agreed that the plains are not a subset. Oklahoma is part of the Southwest with Texas and New Mexico and Arizona.
Okay.
All right. Now, I don't know what Colorado would be. The Rocky
Mountain
Mountains.
State,
I kind of think of the mountain states there myself, but
fine.
that's me.
Fine. That's it.
John's Guide to Geography.
We're done. No more. No more. Mark, don't throw another wrench into this whole thing, okay? Please. It's over. It's done with. Just like hopefully NPR and PBS's funding is, sooner rather than later. The President of the United States posting this last night on his Truth Social account. The President writing here, it's very important that all Republicans adhere to my rescissions bill. Now, that's a bill that would claw back funding that's already been allocated for. And in particular, defunding the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, PBR and PBS. PBR. Don't claw back PBR, please. Let us have our PBR.
Yeah.
PBS and NPR, which is worse than CNN and MSDNC put together. The president writes, any Republican that votes to allow this monstrosity to continue broadcasting will not have my support or endorsement. And then he does the old, thank you for your attention to this matter, which I think I will put in my email signature now in Outlook going forward. There is also somebody who may be on the fence with this whole deal here in our backyard, and that's Jerry Moran. I don't want to get in the weeds on this because it's not worth any of our time. But there's something that complicates the efforts here at a very high level. Any amendment would have to be narrowly tailored to comply with germaneness rules. I'm reading this from Politico. The parliamentarian is involved, guiding senators on what tweaks will be allowed. Why is this happening? Because there are two Republicans, Mike Rounds and Dan Sullivan, out of South Dakota and Alaska, who want amendments to protect public radio stations for Native American reservations and rural Alaskans. Guys, you're totally letting down your constituents here. But anyway, the article goes on to note, should the parliamentarian allow changes, they might find support from other Republicans, including Senator Jerry Moran of Kansas, who said he's keeping his options open until he sees what the chamber's rule keeper will allow. This is so far in the weeds on such a bunch of nonsense. But if Jerry Moran is going to be a guy who gets in the way of defunding NPR and PBS, shame on him. What a disappointment and letdown that would be if we have a Kansas U.S. Senator who is going to use some formalities and some parliamentarian amendment rules that nobody can explain and nobody understands for why you're not clawing back money from NPR and PBS. I don't care that some of the NPR people in Kansas City maybe are nice to you once in a while. And I don't deny that they are. Heck, he might go on KCUR more than he goes on KCMO. We try to get him on once in a while, and it's such a headache, I just sometimes give up. But it's like, dude, this is you don't want to be on this side of the whole deal. And that would be fascinating. I'm not predicting this at all, but it would be fascinating because Trump said that he will not endorse anybody who doesn't back this bill. And I don't think Jerry Moran's up till 28, but primary might be somewhat compelling. But Jerry does very well. To his credit, he knows how to win in this state, and he wins bigly. But please, do not defend KCUR for crying out loud, Jerry. Don't do it, John.
Did you say something about Native Americans?
Yes.
I've seen many YouTube things about problems on the reservation. They got 99 problems, and NPR reception ain't one of them. It's the best what I can see.
Yeah, no,
to your point about low
on their list.
The availability, it's much like our District 3 representative here.
Yes.
You lay low and maybe you get elected.
Mm-hmm. All right. Coming up, buy, sell, hold. We'll get to it here on 95.7 FM. 3 questions rolling till 9 o'clock. And then it's Eric Wesson of the Call newspaper, our feature Friday guest on KCMO. It's a Friday. You get into the office, but you're thinking to yourself, man, she's really waiting for that engagement ring. And you know that she is. If you're thinking it, she's been thinking it for months. So this weekend, go to Diamonds Direct because the offer is coming to an end, where if you buy the engagement ring, you get the wedding band for free. I will share something that, I'm really not embarrassed by it because it shows that I was a young man who grew up in a male-dominated household and didn't watch a lot of chick flicks. I didn't know that you got a wedding band along with an engagement ring. That was news to me when I got engaged at 22 years old. Am I alone in that?
I also learned that when I got engaged.
Thank you. Okay. Just wanted to make sure. So if I knew now what I knew then, well, I would have certainly gone out there and I would have made sure that I took care of my wedding band or her wedding band with the engagement ring, right? That's what you can do right now at Diamonds Direct. So let Angie and Tom and the entire team take awesome care of you with a great buying experience that you will not get anywhere else. You'll get the white glove service. You'll get the customer satisfaction. You'll know what you're buying, and you won't have to break the bank. They'll work within your budget at Diamonds Direct. Start shopping now. Go in this weekend and take advantage. Get the free wedding band when you buy the engagement ring at diamondsdirect.com or start shopping at 119th and Row.
Hey, it's Kevin Keatsman. Stick around. I'm coming up at 10 o'clock right after Pete Mundo on KCMO 95.7 FM.
8:51 on a Friday. Let's roll
It's
it.
time to buy, sell,
How about it in 12 and a half, 15?
and hold.
All right, John, what do you got for us, my man?
Buy, sell, or hold, there will be a Frank White recall vote on Tuesday, August 26th.
I'm going to buy it. I think that Frank may try his best to figure out legal ways to delay this August 26th vote. But I believe that when push comes to shove, it will go on the ballot. Yeah, sure, there might be crying and complaining from the Kansas City and Jackson County election boards. We don't have enough time. This is a quick turnaround. Nobody cares, and nobody wants to hear it.
Nobody cares.
Do your job. The people have spoken. You've got 60 days to turn this thing around. The legislature said it is going on the ballot August 26th. You've got 6-7 weeks to get it done. Get it done. Nobody wants to hear the belly aching. Nobody. And it's an off year, too. It's an off year, odd year election year. There's less to do. I'm sorry this has been put on your plate, but the people have spoken. So I think we may have some short-term drama here. Of course, Frank and the Monarchs have hit the road. I think they're in Winnipeg for the weekend. Then they're coming back down to Fargo or something like that for a 3-game set early next week. So I don't know how that delays any of this, but I'm going to be optimistic and say the people of Jackson County will get their vote on Tuesday, August 26th. I'm buying it, John.
All right. Buy, sell, or hold, going to see the new Superman movie.
You know, I would have sold that because there were some concerns leading up to it that maybe they went woke on Superman. However, the early reviews I have seen from a lot of people across the politically leaning spectrum suggest that it was actually very well done. It's a big hit. So I might have sold it yesterday, but today I will buy it. Now, that doesn't mean that I'm going to run to the movie theater and watch it because I don't think I've been to a movie theater in like 6 years pre-COVID. I'm trying to think. The girls have been to movies, but I haven't been the one to take them. They went to see Moana. And then what was the other one, Mark? The King of Kings movie you told us about?
Yeah. Yep.
That was a good. I didn't see it. I shouldn't say it was a good one. I didn't see it. I heard it was a good one.
Yeah.
Kate took the girls to see it a couple of months back, and they liked that one as well. But I don't think I've been in a movie theater since before COVID, one of like Jurassic Park movies. I know they got a new one out for that too. So I'll buy it, not because I'm running out this weekend to go watch it, but I'll buy it because at least they did not wokeify Superman, and it's just a good old classic Superman movie, which means it's worth going to see, John.
America.
Yep.
Buy, sell, or hold, Mark makes the cut for an unnamed show in Kansas City.
So, Mark, you going for what, the extra or the stand-in, right?
Yeah, so far, stand-in is looking good. We'll see about the other.
Okay. Oh, is that right? All right. Mark, I'm buying this. All right, let's
All
go.
right.
You need another $150 in your pocket for
Let's
a day's
go.
work?
Mm-hmm.
Now, what makes you think that you are going to be a stand-in over an extra?
Well, I got an email back.
Oh, you did?
I got an email back, and they told me to keep some dates open. And I have not got confirmation on any dates yet, so I can't say that I have been confirmed. But I have received an email at least.
So there are two separate lanes for stand-in versus extra.
Yep.
Okay, so you've heard back on the stand-in.
Yep.
Now, you haven't been rejected as an extra yet, have
No,
you?
it's still open.
It's still, like, can you still apply?
I'm not sure. I had to actually go to a casting page
Oh, you did?
to apply. I had to do a headshot.
Oh, really?
Whole thing, everything like that. Yeah.
The official Van Sickle headshot.
Mm-hmm.
And no hats.
No hats.
Mark looks weird without a hat on his head. I'll just say
true.
that much. Okay. All right. Do you sleep with a hat on your head?
No.
Okay. Just figured I'd ask.
Usually I take the hat off when I get inside at home.
Okay. I got you. All right. So only your family sees you without a hat on.
Yeah. Or at
And-
church on Sunday.
Yeah. And you know what? The entire world might see you without a hat on.
Potentially.
if you end up as an extra.
Yeah.
I think you got to make the cut, Mark. You got a unique look. You got a Kansas City look about you. Did your headshot, did you have like a Kansas City T-shirt on or gear on or anything like that?
So to peel back the curtain a little bit, the headshot, I just had a normal plain shirt on.
Okay.
With some buttons on it. I actually did. I wasn't supposed to, but I did submit a full body shot and I had a T-shirt on that said Ted Lasso on it. So maybe they liked that, maybe they didn't. I don't even know if it's for that show.
You suck up. You suck up.
I know.
Oh,
right?
Man.
So I don't know if that was good or bad, but
well, you have a very unique look that stands out. Did you rock the glasses?
Oh yeah.
And the beard in the
Yep.
headshot?
Yep.
Okay. You didn't shave for the headshot.
No.
Okay. All right. I like your odds, man. I do.
Thank you.
Do they know they're still missing those teeth though in the back of your mouth?
They didn't ask about that. I will be honest if they do ask if I have any missing teeth in the back, I'll let them know.
Oh man. Well, you know what you can do? You can use all your big money you make from the stand-in work to get yourself a new tooth.
Okay.
All right. Sound good?
Get an
Great.
implant there.
Yeah, there you go. Okay. Eric Wesson, the Call newspaper, a Kansas City staple, joins us in studio for our half-hour Feature Friday segment next. It's a Friday morning on KCMO. We always like to bring in an in-studio guest and do a half hour to wrap up the week. And we now welcome on and say hello to Eric Wesson. He is the owner of Next Page KC. Just came out today. It's a weekly paper here in Kansas City, and you may know him from his time at the Call, but Next Page KC, launching that here. And Eric, good morning. It's great to have you here. Next Page KC is how old now? Maybe 2 years?
Thanks a lot for having me. First of all, I'm going into my third year this week.
Third year this week?
Third year, yeah.
You know what? Listen, man, entrepreneurial is obviously fantastic. We love to see that here in Kansas City, but that's a heavy lift to be launching a newspaper in 2023 and actually having success.
Lasting for this long.
Yeah.
You know, there's still a segment of people that want a hard copy paper, cup of coffee, a donut, eat breakfast, read the paper. And there's people, and I like to think that we do researched news versus, you know, the internet. Sometimes it's a blurb, sometimes, you know, it's inaccurate information. And so I pride myself on being able to research a story, get the facts, and present it to people.
Well, think about it. You know, while the Kansas City Star is having a lot of issues, you're having success. The Johnson County Post is having success as well. So some of the more hyper-local papers are actually doing better than the regional papers. What makes you guys unique? Why do you think Next Page KC is working?
It's a niche audience. It's issues, basically, not primarily all, but basically issues of news in the Black community. We give the news from that perspective. A lot of times you get mainstream news and it omits things that are going on in the Black community. We pride ourselves in bringing that news from a different angle from the Black community.
So what's the biggest story right now in the Black community in Kansas City that's not getting mainstream attention?
That's not getting mainstream attention. Ollie Gates wants the stadium built in the Jazz District on 18th Street. And I think one of the local news stations picked it up for one segment of news, and I've done a 3-part series on it. So I think that's one of the things. Baseball started in the Black community in Kansas City, 22nd and Brooklyn, Monarch, actually on Paseo with Negro Leagues Baseball. It started there on 18th and Paseo. Then you had the Monarchs, then you had the A's. Then, you know, it changed over to the Royals and it moved out into 40 Highway. So Kansas City, that area has a lot of history as far as sports goes. The Chiefs started there. When Lamar Hunt brought the Chiefs to Kansas City, they were on 22nd and Brooklyn as well.
So, like, it would be great to have the Negro Leagues Museum tied into wherever the pro baseball team is, right?
Absolutely.
I think that would be very cool for Kansas City. It'd be great for the museum. But, I mean, there's so many hurdles. No one's even talking about it. So how is he trying to accomplish this without trying to bring attention to the area? Like, is there something he's actually working politically back channels-wise? Because no one's talking about that location.
Well, all I can say is there are some meetings that have been taking place between Royals representatives and the Gates family and B. Weiser Dixon. They have been in some discussions about it. I think a couple of weeks ago, City Councilwoman Melissa Patterson-Hasley also met with the Royals representatives. I don't know how far they're moving the ball and doing this, and I don't think there's anything concrete, but at least they're having a discussion about it, and that's a good thing.
That is. Your history, Eric, what was your first media job?
Ooh, my first media job was The Call.
The Call.
Yeah.
And you were there for how many years?
I was there for 21 years, almost to the day.
Wow. So what were you doing before The Call?
Before The Call, I took a walk on the wild side, of course, and I was an elementary school teacher.
Oh, really?
I taught third grade. I started out teaching kindergarten and first grade, loved kids. I wanted to be something different because test scores for Black boys start dropping off after they get out of the third grade, when they go into the fourth grade. And I had this, I can change, I can motivate them, I can keep them focused on learning and keep them motivated about learning. And so that is what I did. My mentor in doing that was Dwayne Crumpton, and he headed KCMC, which is a Head Start program. And I worked with him, and we came up with all of these plans and programs to keep kids motivated toward learning.
And did you just get disillusioned, worn out?
Worn out.
Yeah.
It wasn't the kids, it was the parents.
Really? But you're saying
Is this mic on? No,
Yeah.
I'll just play.
Say whatever you want, man. It's just two guys talking.
Yeah,
no one's
I know,
listening.
I know.
So you just got worn out.
With the parents. Because at that time,
So what year
drugs,
is this?
We're talking the 80s,
Okay.
early 90s.
Okay.
Late 80s, early 90s. At that time, crack was real heavy in the urban core, and parents would come up to the school. They would be high. They would be hungover from partying all night, and they'd come in and cuss the teacher out like everything was my fault, while their kids were not learning or behaving or doing the things that they were doing. And I just got burnt out.
No one can blame you for that. But doesn't that bring home the point? And I know you're a great father. You've hustled your whole life. You wanted to make the changes. Gosh, do we need good parents and good dads? And isn't that such a critical issue right now that gets swept under the rug a little bit too much?
We need that. We need a village. When I grew up, there was a village. And by a village, I mean that if I did something, my next door neighbor called my parents, the lady across the street called my parents. Before I could get home from school, everybody in the neighborhood had called my parents. They saw Eric doing such and such and such. We don't have that anymore. So it's like if you say something about somebody's kid, then you best be prepared to deal with the consequences of trying to do that to help them. We had a strong church base. There was a strong community. But now the churches that are in the urban core, and I grew up in the urban core, of course, the churches there, people commute into the churches, like neighborhood churches. I go to Palestine. I pretty much grew up in Palestine and St. Stephen. Everybody in the neighborhood knew everybody, went to church together. Now as people commute into church, they live in Lee Summit, Blue Springs, Johnson County, and they come in for the church service, go to church service, and then go back out into their community. So it's a lot different community-based than it is. Absolutely, we need parents in the home, but we've gotten to the point now where we have to teach parents how to be parents, because you have babies having parents, you have people that don't have the financial means to be a good parent. So you got, now when I was growing up, grandma was 60, 70. Now grandma is 35, maybe 40. So there's a different generational
And it's a snowball
graph.
effect.
And it's
a snowball effect. If one person grows up without the father in the home, that cycle sadly oftentimes continues.
Yes, but I'm not gonna take that exit about the father, because a lot of times in a black family the father wasn't there. We didn't have these issues that we have now when it comes to the black community. And I can only speak from that perspective because that's what I know. But uncles stood in, cousins stood in, the guy next door stood in, the deacon at the church stood in to fill that void. If the father's in the home and he's an alcoholic or drug addict and he's beating the mama and the kids, you got a father in the home, but you still have those same issues that you had. So I feel like it takes the community and the village to raise a kid, not just solely a father.
Yeah, and I think that's completely fair. Eric Wesson, owner of Next Page KC, is joining us on KCMO. I totally agree with that, and I think that's fair. But you and I, we go on, for those that don't know, Nick Haynes' Week in Review show. We have a great time. We yuck it up on there. But you and I probably disagree on a lot of the major political issues of the moment. It's fair to say that. But I think we're agreeing on this. And I think if this, what you're talking about, gets fixed, a lot of the problems get fixed. It's not about the government fixing other problems. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes and no. I think the government has a responsibility. And I say that because we pay taxes we should get services that the government renders to us.
Mm-hmm.
And we should get the same benefits, whether you're Easter Troops or Western Troops, regardless of what our tax base is. But we pay into a system. They should make sure that we have the things that we need. We should have a sound education system. We should have economic development. We should have job training and ability for people to have a job and not only have one, but be able to maintain it. And that's the key. Getting a job is easy. Anybody can go to work, but it's being able to maintain that job.
But it all starts, like we talked about here, at the lowest levels at the home. I mean, look at you. You might still be teaching today if things were different, right? In a different world, you might still be teaching today. And when you've got people running off educators like yourself who are there for the right reasons, how is dumping more money into the system the answer when good people like you are just leaving because they're throwing their hands up saying, I can't help this situation right now?
Well, a lot of people did it for the job to get a paycheck.
Yeah.
It was my passion to a degree, but it wasn't my sole passion, because if it was, I would have hung in there to continue it. I have just as much stress in journalism as I did teaching.
Oh, you're running a
school.
small business. That's plenty of work.
That's way more stress. But getting information to people, radio show, being on TV, being with the newspaper, that's my passion. And I think that I absorb more being able to do that than I did in teaching.
That's fair. And I think that a lot of people would understand that. I just think that, when you look at the struggles, boy, there's a lot right now. What is the thing in Kansas City that you look at and you say to yourself, from the urban perspective, it doesn't get enough attention, doesn't get enough media focus?
Economic development and the lack thereof. And when we talk about education, for example, you have these projects that come up. There are shiny projects. They get a lot of media attention, but there are also TIF projects, tax increment financing. That means that you're not putting money into the school district because they're getting all of these abatements for these projects. So I think that would be the thing that people don't understand, the dollars and cents. We hear about it, we get a concept of it, but when you have a project, let's say that $15 a year for the next 20 years is going to go to the school district with a project. Well, the developer and the people around that project now get the $15 a year. The school district doesn't get any money. How do you think that the school district maintains?
Yeah.
And I think that's the biggest issue that we don't spend enough time explaining to people.
The developers get the best deals around town. White, black, rich, poor. I mean, it's an all day. They're running a great racket there. I'll tell you what, these guys and gals. We're going to take a quick break with Eric Wesson, Next Page KC, and we'll wrap up the conversation with some of the big power players in town. His thoughts on where those individuals head coming up next.
It's Mundo in the Morning. Now on FM at 95.7. Set a preset on your radio. KCMO Talk Radio.
Eric Wesson, next page KC. We're telling so many jokes. He's laughing coming back on the air. Hey, it's great to have you here, my friend.
Thanks a lot for having me. I'm honored.
Hey, let's start off with this. Frank White, does he make a recall effort in Jackson County, if you were to predict it?
He packs up starting the day after the election.
Okay. So you're saying even in the urban core, Frank White does not have that solid base that he used to have?
No, everybody likes Frank. Frank was a great baseball player. He was probably one of the best baseball players in the history of Kansas City baseball.
Mm-hmm.
But, and his argument is that it's all about the stadiums and him going against the stadium tax. It's about the property tax assessment.
So even in the urban core, that they're upset about, for the homeowners there, they're pissed about how that went.
Yes. I have interviewed personally 46 people. All 46 people either knew something about the property tax or were affected by it, and that was his demise. He didn't correct the problem, and everybody kept saying, hey, it's a problem, and he dug his heels in. In fact, at one point in time, he sued taxpayers to make them pay more than they should have been paying for those taxes. So, it's difficult. It was the taxes. It was the ARCO money from the government for COVID. I think it's like 70-something million just sitting on the shelf.
Mm-hmm.
It was the budget, 6 months to pass the budget. In the meantime, businesses and services were suffering. I don't think he did himself any good by not correcting the problem.
Yeah. All right. So you think he's done as well. Replacement? Where do you think the conversation goes?
Okay, so you got Duran McGee is rumored to want the position as interim.
Mm-hmm.
When I asked him about it Monday at the press conference, he said he was focused on getting the ball rolling and starting the process. You have Dan Tarwater during the press conference whispered in my ear that he was interested in being the interim. We'll see how that goes because remember, he was on the county legislature.
Yeah.
And got off of it to run from city council and got dusted.
Yeah, he's got smoked. And he should have won that race, but he didn't do the work.
He didn't do the work. He was going by name recognition. So he's somebody. I don't know if the next county executive is even in the running yet. Or the interim. And whoever runs, you have somebody run for that position as well. Philip Lavoda, his name has come up as well, but I haven't heard him actually say he was interested in running.
Got a couple more questions for you here.
Yes,
we got
sir.
a couple minutes left.
I'm liking this.
We'll do some rapid fire here, just like with our buddy Nick. The future of Quentin Lucas is what?
Jackson County executive.
Oh, really?
You heard it here.
You heard it here first.
That's where he goes. Where else can he land? Unless he goes over in Kansas and runs for a House seat or something like that. There's no place in Missouri or a Kansas City area for him to land. Jackson County executive. It's a little bit of power, but not as much as he had as the mayor.
That's what I mean. It keeps him in the political spotlight,
Right.
but it actually feels like it's a step down in some respects.
Yeah, it is, but the county, he can make it be a little bit more than what it is, and maybe as the county executive, he would have a little more leeway with the teams if people wanted to keep the teams here or the teams wanted to stay in Jackson County.
That's a good point. Future of Emmanuel Cleaver, how much longer has he got?
I give him another 4 years, maybe.
2028, maybe?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then he turns the reins over to the next possible person. And I think that person would probably be Jackson County Prosecutor Melissa Johnson.
Ooh, that's a good one, too.
And that's a bold statement.
That's a bold statement. But, hey, if she does a good job, and I so far so good for her, that would be a great step in the right direction.
That would be. And people like her. She would be easy to embrace, and it would just be a transition. Reverend Cleaver has had a great relationship with the community. And I think right now Melissa Johnson is as well.
Okay. All right. And the Royals and the Chiefs, where do they end up?
Woo! I think one of them goes over to the I'm not going to say which one, but I think it's going to be the Chiefs. I think the Chiefs go over to Kansas, Wyandotte County over there by the Legends, build them a stadium with a dome on it. The Royals stay in Kansas City, maybe going over to Crown Center, even though I just don't like that location.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, tell me and tell people where. I know the next page, kc.com, is where they should go on the web, but what else can they do? I know there's plenty of places around town to pick it up as well.
They can go online, www.thenextpagekc.com. You can click on locations where the paper is, buy the paper there. You can subscribe to it, buy a paper, cut out the subscription, send it in, and we go with it from there.
There you go. Eric Wesson, small business owner, the next page, kc.com, covering the urban core of Kansas City. Great to have you here, my friend.
Thanks
we got to do it again.
Yeah. I thought we were going to have the phone lines open and all of that.
Hey, if you want to do that, we can do that next time. All right? That'll be real fun. Hey, it's great to see you, my man.
All right. Great to be here. Again, thanks for having me.
Eric Wesson, nextpagekc.com. News in a minute.
If it's happening in KCMO, it's on KCMO 95.7 FM. Here's Pete Mundo.
Only KCTV5 had any kind of an update on the Carlos Climaco Garcia story, the man who we reported yesterday at 6:20 in the morning had a detainer put out on him by ICE after he is alleged to have tried to molest two 13-year-olds at Smithville Lake on July 4th. Kansas City Star, nah. KNBC, Fox 4, we'll pass. Woke 41, forget it. KCTV5 did post something here. And the update after they reached out to the Clay County's prosecutor's office is that the office is unaware whether or not Climaco Garcia is in the U.S. legally or illegally. But they said he is in custody on 2 felony child molestation charges. But a probable cause statement, as reported here by KCTV5, said that Garcia was in the U.S. with only a Guatemalan ID. The state also said he was accompanied by someone who had an ICE detainer. Now, according to my sources, that may be true. It's just not the whole story. ICE has also put a detainer on Garcia. For whatever reason, the Clay County Prosecutor's Office doesn't want to broadcast that far and wide right now, but it's amazing. No follow-ups done as of last night, early this morning. I admit I have not checked in the last hour here, but no one else has done anything with this, which is just wild to me and tells a separate story in and of itself. So now the question would become, what do you want to see the Clay County Prosecutor's Office do? And they can try to prosecute here, or if the person is here illegally, they can say, ICE, just take him away. Because Trump's in office, I would lean to the latter and just say, get him out of here, wasting time, money, and resources on prosecuting someone that will take months, if not, God forbid, years, and take up jail space at the county level doesn't make a lot of sense to me right now. As much as, trust me, as a father of girls, there's a lot of things I'd do to this guy that would result in me not being here the next day. Take a step back and realize these are the people we just got to get out of the country and get them out as quickly as we can and get back to doing the business of the American people. And this led to our caller of the day on KCMO.
It's time to buy. It's the Mundo in the Morning Caller of the Day on KCMO Talk Radio, now on FM at 95.7.
913-408-7957. Paul in Kansas City is first up. Hey, Paul, good morning. You're on KCMO.
Hey, brother, I totally agree with you. Don't waste the taxpayers' money up there. But here's what I would caveat on that. I would call down, either I would send him down to Alcatraz down in Florida, and then I'd ship him to South Sudan. That would be justice. Or if I ship him to Guatemala, I call down to Guatemala. I call the prosecutor out there and say, hey, look, this guy attacked 2 of our girls up here. Can you make sure you guys take care and make sure he gets justice down there? That would be good.
Yeah, that would be. I mean, I don't know how you do that, though, if it's still just an allegation here in the States, right?
No, I understand. But send the whole case. No, I understand. But send the whole case file down there and say, hey, look, here's what we got. These are all the witness statements. This is everything we got. You guys do what you want with it. But if you do something, just let us know so we can tell the families, hey, he's in a jungle somewhere working in a stone quarry or something.
Yeah. There you go. Paul in Kansas City, our caller of the day on KCMO. And I'll peel off this layer of the story as well that I have not yet done this morning. But the other reason that I would prefer deportation is that the prosecutor, Zachary Thompson, does not get along with the judge in this case, Karen Krauser. She is a very liberal judge. He is a more conservative prosecutor. He's also, I think, been kind of shell-shocked in the wake of the Andrew Lester, Ralph Yarl story that got national attention, worldwide attention a couple of years ago. The older white male who shot the young black kid who showed up at the wrong home. And the global attention that got, I think, scared Zachary Thompson. He has been very careful in what he has said and done publicly ever since then. But then there's also this beef with the judge in this case. They're not going to get along. And if they prosecute the case, they got to work together, right? They got to agree on how they move forward. So is that something that's likely to happen? From what I hear from folks up in the Northland, that's not likely to be a good setup. So I could just hand this guy over to ICE and say, put him on the long list, get him down to Alligator Alcatraz and ship him out. I mean, at some point, you got to be efficient about this stuff and just get him out of here. And then let him move on to the next person, the next thing, and see what else is going on. So we'll have to see how that plays out. But that would be my preferred method as we look forward here on KCMO Talk Radio 95.7 FM. Always good to have you on the KCMO Talk Radio app as well as we keep it rolling. Kevin Keatsman is going to join us here on 95.7 FM as he does each and every Friday to wrap up the show. And I'll tell you what, if you were to tell me a week ago how Kevin's week was going to go, I would have said, well, that's probably not good for any of us. But now I'm sitting back and I'm laughing because of how the week has actually gone. But yeah, if you're like, hey, Keatsman's going to be in the Daily Mail. He's going to be in Drudge Report, New York Post.
Front page of Outkick.
Yeah, front page of Outkick. Let's just put it this way. It would not have been because of what it was because of, if that makes sense. So let's talk to Kevin. Let's put a bow on the week and have some fun. Coming up next, before Kevin Keatsman uncanceled on KCMO Talk Radio 95.7 FM. All right, you're wrapping up the week. You're thinking about the weekend, and you are also thinking about what you got to do around the house, right? That's how I think, at least. And if you're looking at the bathroom, doesn't matter if it's yours, the kids, the guest bathroom, and you're like, it's just time. Well, my friends at the Plumbing Pro are offering you $2,000 off and 12 months same as cash with approved credit when you use the Plumbing Pro for your bathroom remodel and update. All you have to do is go to the website, theplumbingpro.com, theplumbingpro.com. And I've been in a the mood this week, not a the mood this week. You go there, and you know that Steve and his team have been doing this for 50 years. I don't want to age him. Almost 50 years. 1978 is when Steve started the Plumbing Pro with a $2,800 bid. And now all these years later, great small business in Kansas City, locally owned, locally operated, and doing everything from your residential plumbing to your commercial plumbing, and now also the new Bath Pro tub and shower replacements. They're doing it. It's right there on the homepage. You can't miss it. The website, theplumbingpro.com. That's theplumbingpro.com.
Hey, it's Kevin Keatsman. Stick around. I'm coming up at 10 o'clock right after Pete Mundo on KCMO 95.7 FM.
Kevin Keatsman is in the house wrapping up the week, and I'm sitting up a little straighter, sucking my belly in, pushing my chest back, and making sure I don't want to be judged.
You are. How often do you work out?
5 days a week.
How long?
Oh,
45 minutes?
Yeah, 45 minutes.
You lift?
Yeah, run a couple days a week.
Mm-hmm.
Little
you go
combination.
To the gym, you do that at home?
The
gym, you do that at home?
Gym, yes, on the way home.
It shows.
Well, thank you for that. Yeah. But I just don't want to be judged.
I don't go to the gym, but I don't lift. I used to like to lift a little bit, but the joints just sometimes you just get too much.
But here's the thing: you look, I think, better and younger than you did at the end of your other radio career.
Yeah,
is that a fair assessment?
I'm living a healthier life.
Yes,
I don't have the stress I had when there were 40 employees and everybody in my office asking for crap.
Yeah,
yeah.
You
know what I'm talking about?
Yes, I've got an idea. But, I mean, listen, man, it goes to show you, right? Age is just a number. You look better than you did 10 years ago.
Just a number.
You know?
Jessica's a big part of it. She cooks well. I've learned a lot about food. We have more time to be serious about it, and it's great. Everything else used to just be on the run.
What's the biggest change?
Food, diet. Seriously, it's just, I mean, we exercise about the same, but the diet's just completely changed, and it's not bad. I'm not some freak. We're not vegans. It's nothing like that. I had a steak too. I actually had 2 steaks a couple nights ago. They were smaller ones, but they're fantastic. We eat good food, but we don't do the junk stuff. Like, you guys know this, man. When your kids are young, you're on the run, and sometimes you just got to drive through.
Yeah.
And there you go. And what are you having? Burgers, fries, all that stuff. Well, I started out in TV, driving around in the news truck mostly in the 90s, and there was no going back to the station for like hours. Everything was drive-through food, so I just kind of learned that culture. And I lived that for a long time. You cannot do a fast food culture. It's fine once a week, whatever, but you can't do it. I did it for a long time. It's just terrible for you.
Mm-hmm. So if I told you this week would have resulted in you being on Drudge and Daily Mail and all these websites and New York Post and Outkick, would you have ever predicted this based on what caused it?
No, not on that. No, if you just said, hey, something's going to happen this week, I'd like, okay, what stupid thing did I say on KCMO radio to get fired? And then I'd be like, yeah, then it would be everywhere. Yeah. And the TV crews would be out here, all the local news. No, not 34 minutes into a podcast on about a 3-minute commentary that was not a throwaway. It was planned.
Yeah.
I planned it out. It was part of the show. It wasn't like, hey, I was just riffing or something. But it was not a big part of the podcast. Like, this thing was 34 minutes in. I thought about on Sunday when I saw the pictures, I thought, well, maybe I should lead with this. This is a big deal. The season's getting ready to start. And then I thought, you know what? It's Patrick Mahomes. He's the best I've ever seen. How hard can you be on a guy that's been this great, right? And the best in our town. Let's just give him a little bit of a break. So I buried it 34 minutes in, only did 3 minutes on it. But nobody that even heard about it or reported on it got any of the context that the commentary was. He's basically said in the offseason, I'm going to get in shape. We're refocusing on everything. And we're going to come back with a vengeance. Well, he hasn't. He hasn't refocused anything in the offseason. That's fine. He's a great dad, a great husband, a great family man, a great quarterback, a great Kansas City, and all those things. But I've yet to meet a human that's 100% perfect. And he does get paid $500 million. And paid $500 million. And his job is to be the best quarterback he can be. And I think he's going to get in shape at camp, which is what players used to do all the time. I don't think it's going to be a problem come September 14th when they have their home opener here at Arrowhead. But I just don't understand it. I don't understand saying you're going to be something and then not. If he wants to be known as the most body fat of any quarterback in the NFL, just own up to it. I've offered up a nickname for him. He could be the thicker flicker. That's fine. If he wants to be that guy, that's great. But his trainer and him are saying we're going to be the fattest quarterback in the league, 15% body fat. Will top every other starting quarterback. That's their goal for him. Apparently it's worked. It's worked so well. How many quarterbacks are copying it? None.
Yeah.
None.
Trying to think. Yeah.
Nobody's
you would
copying
know the
it.
answer. Yeah. You looked it up.
His trainer was like, hey, name a quarterback with a 6-pack abs that's won a Super Bowl or gone to Hall of Fame. I'm like, Jalen Hurts? Last February? That guy's ripped.
Yeah, he is. He is.
There's a bunch of them that are. Lamar Jackson? Jaden Daniels, the new Commanders quarterback, they're everywhere.
Yeah.
Joe Burrow, you guys looked at this guy?
Now, let me ask you, is there something to be said? You've obviously covered these athletes your entire career. Mahomes is 6'2", maybe 6'3",
Sure.
right? I mean, I'm 6'1", 180. I would get killed out there. He's got to have something on him, right? He's got to like he can't be a lean machine because you see those guys that are super brittle like Robert Griffin or something.
I agree with you. So he's naturally a stocky dude.
Yeah.
As am I. Okay? So if I ever wanted, like when I was younger, wanted to lift or something, I probably could have gotten a lot of muscle on me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see the muscle. That's the issue. You can add weight by muscle instead of belly fat. That's all I'm talking about. I've covered football. The first year I covered the Chiefs was in Liberty, Missouri at training camp in 1985. Okay, I'm old, right? So I've been doing this forever. I have never heard a trainer say, we need more belly fat and less muscle. I've never heard that in anything other than maybe an offensive lineman. Never.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand it.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense. I'm sorry.
You know,
and for me to point it out and people to get on me, great. It's what I've done my whole career. I'm going to tell you the truth up front. Coming up in less than an hour at 10:30, we're going to talk about a local sports radio host that has fat-shamed Travis Kelce on X. He's fat-shamed him with a photograph. And I'm going to tell you why this is really lame that he's done it.
Ooh, 10:30.
10:30.
I like that. You know, here's the more amazing part to me. The way that some people react to this.
Oh, yeah.
Whether it's no names on X, whether it's voicemails or emails that I got to the station, whether it's former Kansas City personalities like Nick Wright. I mean, these people are so deranged.
I feel bad for him.
Well,
I won't respond to him.
Yeah, nor should
I
you.
literally feel sorry for the man. There's an issue there.
Yeah.
That's very deep.
I would agree.
And I don't want to get into it, and I don't want to get into it, and I just won't respond to it.
No,
I'm just not going to
you.
give these people the time of the day.
Yeah.
Now a lot of them are just liberals, and they're coming after you because doing this and doing the other things you're doing. I just don't have time for the critics. I'm sorry. I don't care.
Nor should you.
Yeah,
I'm just
I don't
amazed at the amount of time and emotion people put into something
on a sports
like
take.
this.
A sports
on
take.
a 3-minute sports take that they probably don't have the context of and didn't listen to
Absolutely.
your point.
None of them listen to it. And again, it's a sports take. And I've said this many times since I started doing this a few years ago. In news, it's people will be like, you tell somebody bad news, they're like, well, that's bad news. That kind of stinks. You tell somebody something bad about your team or their favorite player, they hate you for life. Like it's a totally different deal. It's like abortion hate. Like you hate the other side, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, you cannot, if this were the Denver quarterback, and I was making fun of the Denver quarterback, Bo Nix, for being on a yacht with a big old belly hanging out with all these people partying the week before the season starts, and I was doing that, everybody would love Kev. Hey, radio boy, we love you. You're making fun of the Denver quarterback. But boy, you say it about Mahomes, we're coming for you.
So, big weekend coming up, by the way. We've got Mets in town. I'll be there tomorrow. Royals are suddenly playing some great baseball. Mets are struggling. They lost 2 or 3, got swept in a doubleheader yesterday. You going out to any of those games?
I've been out. I don't know if I'm going this weekend. Definitely not tonight. I've got a thing we're doing tonight. But I would like to get out. The Royals are playing well. They're playing fun. I know that you grew up a Mets fan. Can you just give us one win this weekend? The Royals can't get swept.
Oh, you kidding me? I'm worried that we'll get the one win.
You know, it's the Royals, right?
I know. But the Mets have not been playing good baseball here.
It changes everything at the Royals. They just got a sweep. They have to at least win one. I know that's a low bar. They got to win a game this
Well,
weekend.
I think tonight's a great opportunity. Mets had a doubleheader, traveled from Baltimore last night, and Royals had the day off yesterday.
Interesting side note, Michael Walker's pitching tonight with his six-pack abs. He has the same trainer as Patrick Mahomes.
Is that right?
It's the same guy.
Michael Walker.
Yes.
By the way, the big mistake, we got 30 seconds here. The big mistake, the trainer responding to you helped
That's
blow
what did
this
it.
thing up.
Well, that's the only thing that did it. It never happens without the trainer. He has deleted his posts. He's blocked me. I can promise you the Chiefs shut him down, and there's a problem at Arrowhead because they want Patrick Mahomes to get rid of that guy. I just guarantee you. I know how they operate. Yes, that Stroop guy, that's the guy in trouble, not me.
Yeah.
He should never have done what he did.
He
was wrong.
Yeah, well, he helped just get this thing to the next level. And that's the last thing he should have wanted to do.
Exactly right. He's got Patrick Mahomes as a client. Get off social media.
I mean, what do you need to prove, dude? Gosh. All right, man. Have a great
Michael
show.
Walker and his flat belly.
All right. Maybe Walker will give us a flash going back to the dugout today of a six-pack. There you go.
He's good.
Keatsman, have a great weekend, man.
Thank you, buddy. You too.
There you go. Keatsman uncanceled. 10 o'clock hour coming up next.